Sasquatch and Holler. Please like and subscribe.
And hit that bell.
Hey, Amanda, how's it going?
It's good, Roger. How are you tonight?
Good. I always laugh at. I love that intro. It's kind of goofy a little bit, but it's just right for us.
All right.
Y'all. So I get excited about all of our guests, and I'm always surprised. Even like Amanda's co-host, but if she agrees to like co-host a show, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't believe somebody's going to do this. And then when you ask people, and they say yes, it's humbling actually. And then I met Mr. Davis just in passing last year at a conference. Didn't spend any time with him much at all, but just thanked him for a lot of his work he's done. And he's nice enough to come on and talk to us tonight. So Amanda, I know you're excited, and you've probably got some good questions ready.
Yeah, I've got quite a list already here. I was looking at a few of them, and also can thank to some of our backstage research team as well for some good questions. And yeah, go ahead, Roger.
No, and I was just going to say we're just a small show, and everybody knows we like to approach it as we're sitting on the back porch drinking tea and just chit chatting, and we take the subject serious. And just yeah, no, I've got my diet green tea here. So
yeah.
All right, so let's bring everybody.
Gotta be healthy tonight.
That's hard to do. But everybody, thanks for coming in, and we're going to welcome Mr. MK Davis to the stage.
All right.
Hello. How you doing?
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. I want to open up, and I want to tell you something that my friend Greg's been dealing with boogers for several years, and we were discussing the Patterson-Gimlin film. We've always discussed that in your work, and we look at we're come from a different viewpoint, I guess. There's a lot of people that watch this film, and they have their different reasons why they're interested. But I saw one when I was 14. Greg has seen a few, and I don't know exactly when you stabilized it, but it was such a great help to some of us that couldn't talk about it in the country that
it really
we could
was.
that we could go see. And it was, even though I knew what I saw, it was a confirmation, so to speak. And look, I've looked at that film so much watching you go over it, but I'm always looking for that like smoking gun that is not real, and I have yet to find it. And I just want to say thank you from me and people like Amanda and Greg and a lot of us that have had to keep quiet over the years. Thanks for doing what you did. It helped us in ways you probably don't even know.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. So I don't know where to get started. Actually, there's so many things that we could talk about, but one thing we like to do, we like to get people to get to know the guest, and I love all the other interviews and all that, but I'm interested in the person also. So, like, can you go back? When did you have the idea to even start doing what you were doing on the film?
Well, I was more into astrophotography, and I really kind of just backed into the Bigfoot thing.
Like Jerry Clower.
like that. It was similar.
Yeah.
I wasn't really planning on being where I am today. I this was when the internet was first becoming a thing, and I saw a filtered image of Patty, frame 350, and it was it was posted as the result of an argument that this man had. Man was saying there was a baby on her back, and the other man says, I've been working with the original film that was in his camera. I got the clearest photos. He says you can see things down to a size of a grape or marble with basic identification. He says, and I don't see a baby, you know. And I looked at the picture, baby or not, I didn't care. But
Right.
that can't have come from the film I saw on TV.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, there had to be a much better version of this film to produce a filtered image this clear. And I began an inquiry. And that's the way astrophotos are done. They're something very, very faint. You can't see it very well. They'll filter that image and boost contrast and resolution. And next thing you know, you got a Hubble quality photo to look at. Well, somebody knew how to do that. And I began this inquiry, and I actually went to, gave a presentation in Oregon, and I met some people from Canada who knew other people, and eventually I got a collection of images that were much, much better. And I've treated every one of the frames for lens defects, chromatic aberration, they call it, when a more inexpensive lens is used. It doesn't bring all the colors to one point.
Mhm.
There'll be some that are not focused, and when you show the image, the not focused ones will knock the quality down on the others. So in order to get that good quality, you have to filter them out. And once you filter them out, you get a boost, maybe 20%, maybe. And if you get a boost of just 1%, you're going to see about 10 new things.
Mm.
Mhm.
So I did every one of the frames that way, and then I loaded them into my animator, and I lined them all up where the creature stayed in the center. I took all the hand motion and the running and everything that the camera people were doing. So when I hit preview at 2:00 in the morning, my jaw dropped.
I bet you wasn't sleepy no more then.
And how really good it was. You see things that are natural, what you call biomechanics.
Mm-hmm.
You see the when you move your shoulder like that, your scapula moves under the skin.
Mm-hmm.
It'll go up and down and move around as you swing your arms like this. You could see it all in that improved version. And you could see the glutes. The glutes were moving independently. You could see, a big complaint about the Patterson film was that it looked like a pillow in a suit. Somebody stuffed a pillow down there. But it's only a 60-second video. She changes angles to the sun several times. When it first starts out, the angle is quite different from when it ends. So when she first starts out, the cameraman's looking straight up at her. He's down further below her. She's going up on the sandbar. He hasn't ascended yet. And you can see right up her rear end.
Yeah.
You can see the two halves, and you can also see it makes some deductions because she's worn the hair off the inside of each glute.
Mm-hmm.
And that tells you right there that she's staying somewhere with low overhead, where she's scooting around, where it wore the hair off. That's all real natural. I can show you that if you'd like to see it.
Oh yeah, hey, I love.
Yeah,
I'm
that would
gonna,
be great.
I'm gonna,
You
I'm
do
gonna go
whatever
to
you want to.
I'm gonna go to the present, and I think you've got to okay it. But
Okay,
let's see here.
I see a
Share
present or
screen.
invite.
Share screen. Select a tab to share. Entire screen. There we go. Share. All right.
So add it to the stage.
Yeah, and there we
There
go.
we go. Perfect.
Wow, I learned
Now,
something.
I'm gonna go and
We got
find that.
infinity mode right now, but yeah.
I mean, what?
I love how you know exactly which file to dig through
Some
right
I-
there in your
some I
large
do.
file.
Some I
File
do, and
system.
some I don't.
I understand. I'm a very amateur photographer myself, so looking at your backstage files right there, I'm like, that looks just like mine. That's why I was teasing you, there, sir.
You ever lose a good one and can't find it for a while?
Oh, I do. That's actually it's not so humorous.
That is very true. Yes,
Drives
sir.
me crazy. I don't know what I was thinking, why I named it. I named some really wild things, but it's just whatever comes to mind. I'll
Mhm.
remember that, and then I don't.
Oh, absolutely.
In hindsight, I keep going. I wish I had a video camera in there when you saw it for the first time.
There's your glutes. That's in the early part of the filming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You see, that's not a pillow.
No.
You can see definitive definition in the glutes or her rump side, whichever terminology you want to use there. It's not bulbous and round like it's described in other
The only
images.
reason it's so much better is a different angle of the sun,
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
and it penetrates the hair. The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. That's
Mhm.
a law of physics. And if you get to a certain obliqueness, it won't penetrate the hair.
So he was at a lower point right here. Did he run? Did he run up on the sandbar or at any point? Or
Apparently he did at some
Mhm.
point there, but this right here does not last but about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
So
That's
then it stops and restarts with the creature further up the sandbar.
And for the people in chat, we always talk about the mass. Of course, it's hard to tell if you know how, unless you know how big the trees are. But look at the thickness, and when he shows different angles, just look at
Mhm.
the overall thickness and everything. That's like Naoma said the other night. The one she saw was big in every direction. So
Yeah.
That's imagine what Mr. Bigfoot was like.
yeah, exactly. And I feel like
I'm gonna go to another one now.
okay.
Let's see.
And I've always felt like mine, the one I saw was younger male because I always said it wasn't shaped like Patty in the middle. It was more athletic looking,
Mhm.
but the mass of it was incredible.
It's I've been
Oh,
able
wow.
to determine that a cubic inch of Bigfoot flesh weighs about double what a cubic inch of modern man flesh does.
Yeah, I heard you
It's
mentioning that on a different show I was watching recently, where you had mentioned that. How did you come to that deduction?
I used a we me and some Japanese gentlemen, when I took them there, and they wanted to shoot a reenactment.
Mhm.
So I played the Bigfoot, and then when I got the footage from them, I split screened it with the film,
Mhm.
and that she was much faster than me,
Well,
and
that
should never have been. The
Mhm.
biomechanics, they forbid that. You can't walk forcing your arms to go forward and backwards. The natural walk would be for it to swing back to center under
Mhm.
gravity. So when I got it to the point where they matched in that, I could get kind of an estimate on the weight.
Mhm.
Now, I also read the NASI report. That's the North American Science Institute, where a
Mhm.
gentleman named Jeff Glickman had done the same thing. And Jeff Glickman came up with 1,400 pounds.
Mhm.
And he was so ridiculed by Bigfooters, it wasn't even funny. But
Mm.
Mr. Glickman was probably right.
Well, I do know from just dealing with my kids, and my son was really muscular early on. You could pick up a kid that looked the same size as him, and he weighed seemed like 3 times as much because of the muscle mass.
Mhm.
So I can see, and and look, we found tracks before. I know, MK, you found tracks. Some of this material that they're stepping in and mashing up 2 inches where we're just barely making a mark.
I
I
found
told
some tracks out there near the Patterson site with those when I was with them Japanese guys, and
Mhm.
they were 10 centimeters deep,
Oh,
which
wow.
is about right at 4 inches.
Wow.
Mhm.
And I stomped the ground, and I couldn't even hardly make anything you could even recognize as a track.
And another thing, if you've got something, this big around going a couple inches, that's one thing. But if you got something that big, it's just like tires on a truck. The wider they are, the less they sink, supposedly. So these things have a tremendous amount of weight. Look at that, y'all.
You see the muscles moving right there.
Absolutely.
Wow.
See the glutes moving independently right there.
And the
Yes.
shoulder blade as well. You can see
Yeah.
that.
All
Look,
of that it's got a little hairstyle. You can make it out in here. It's a,
Mhm.
a little bit of the hair has been pulled back and bunch, but there's still hair coming down the side of the face.
Oh, wow.
It's
you know,
both.
one of the first things you'll see in a fake video when somebody puts a mask on or whatever is they're looking down so they can see where their feet are going. That
Yeah.
her eyes are level, and she's not tripping and falling, and
That's
this is
right.
so smooth and so everything's working together. There's nothing working against anything. It's fluid. Look at it. In fact,
I determined from that video comparison that the film was shot at about 16 frames per second, or maybe slightly under that, and that's the same speed that the Russians came up with back in the 70s when they examined the film. So we agree on that.
that's
Uh,
amazing.
You can also see as well too in just this short film, which you can see in other ones, but this one really good, the change of the light on the hair as with the motion, the move the light changes
let
with
me
it. That's
let me
very much a 3D individual.
That's wild.
let me change this to another one that shows that very well. Let's see here. I need to go neck motion, normal speed. You can see that sun reflecting off right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see it as it
Look,
moves around.
y'all.
Look at right there on the leg. You see how reflective that hair
Yeah.
is?
Yes, sir.
You think it's that sheen that a lot of people talk about?
It is. It's a sheen to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look, y'all, I've got Mr. Davis on here, me and Amanda, and y'all are looking at this. Look at the rotation of this neck. If that was a suit, that doesn't happen that easily.
Mm-mm.
That's just, and it's all, and it's the timing. It's all in the step. It's, I've seen mountain lions. I've seen stuff around here watching animals walk. I've studied this film so much, and it's just, the more you study it, the more in awe you are of these things. But look at the fluidness, if that's a word. Look at that. And when I told my story, I was telling people that the one that looked at me, it kind of turned at the waist, and if I can put my chin over my shoulder, I don't think this thing can do that because the chin is so far in front of the shoulder that
Yeah,
it's
it's
not even
very
built like us.
almost kind of
I
weird.
don't know. I don't know for sure what's happening as far as the internals right in here.
Mhm,
It can clearly move its neck. It's not
mhm,
like it's froze. It doesn't have a neck,
right,
but it may be a different anatomy. We'd have
well,
to be able to study one to determine.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you look at the angle. I mean, look where the chin is in relative to her breast,
Mhm.
out over. So you look at that whole area of the shoulders, and it's not. And look at the back. She's not hunched. She's built like that. That's
Mhm.
not human, y'all. I mean, I don't. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, I mean, there's things that we don't know.
right.
Now, one thing that we don't know, I do know now, I'm fairly certain, is that she has hemorrhoids,
Mm.
uh, which
Interesting.
will which will make you bend forward.
Yeah, that makes you.
Uh,
Yeah.
True.
I could try to find that file that I have on that. It's in the early part of the filming, and she falls over completely, like almost on all fours, and
Mhm.
she's literally mooning the camera. You can see right up the rear end,
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
and
Same.
you can see that she's got a personal problem up in there.
Mm.
Which you can go from there and supposing things.
What?
She's a female, so maybe she's got a little one somewhere. Maybe she just gave birth. That's all a possibility.
Right.
That's very true.
What year did you stabilize this?
It was in the 90s.
Okay,
Wow.
Um,
because
sure
Hillary just
which year.
Hillary just said that she saw the film for the first time in a movie theater in 74, 75. She was 3 or 4. And I don't know how we saw it over here in Tennessee, whether it was on a weekend news or something. I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't stabilized. The first time I ever saw it, you really couldn't tell much about it.
Yeah, William is also asking as well here about the bulge that people always are seeing and talking about on the thigh. I see
On
that.
the
Oh, hold on just a minute. I'll see if I got it on this little thumb drive here. I think I have that. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Let's see.
Mr. Davis, I appreciate this. This is so much
Yes,
fun.
absolutely. This is really great. I'm familiar with the film, but a lot of people are saying, from the 70s. For me, it was in the Monster Quest show from the late 90s, early 2000s on the Discovery Channel, on top of course, local stories and legends and everything. So again, seeing this as crisp as it is with these, and it's not super blurry like everybody always talks about. It's really nice to see these amazing details and the fact that, and I heard you talk about it as well in another show, that the type of film that they were using allowed them to be able to get such clarity for the time period. So I think that's really a neat fact that a lot of people don't know about this film.
And even though saw the one I saw, I watched this video forever trying to figure out if it's fake or not. And the more I watched it, the more I got away from that, because um, it was just too good to be true, like
Mhm.
in a way. And I have sat and watched these breakdowns. And what I did, my dad and mom had an incident. They didn't see one, but I would show him some of your breakdowns, and he would look at them like, oh my God, look at how long the arms are.
You can see on the leg that when it bulges out, it
Hmm.
has a shadow beneath it,
Hmm.
and that
Yeah,
means
yeah.
you see it disappear when the bulge goes in. It's on a quad muscle, so it as she steps, it changes the amount of pressure on that muscle.
I don't know if the arm is necessarily as long as you think that it is. Roger, just from what I'm observing, looking at it, I wonder, it looks like her fingers as they go back kind of line up perfectly with that black
log.
log behind it. So it gives the illusion of it being super long.
You're right.
You can see right here. There's a stripe right there, and the hair is worn away by the action of the hand against there.
Yeah, you can also see it a little bit on that glute right there as well, about where this part of her arm or wrist is as she goes down. I was noticing that in the other. Mr. Robinson here says, I can't pronounce that, so I'll let you read the comment. I'm sorry.
Could it be on the sartorius muscle rather than the quad?
I think the general line of thought is amongst anatomists is that it's on a quad muscle, which that leaves you 3 more muscles to walk on.
So Mr. William is I don't know if he's retired doctor, ladies doctor, and so Hillary is asking him, William, if her hemorrhoids are related to childbirth, could that your theory be connected? Because he said he's seen what do you call it? When the knots. What am I trying to say, y'all? Help me out here, Mr. William. I drew a blank.
Well, that's all right.
Your train of thought completely derailed.
Yeah. When you have a ulcer type, yes, I am an MD. So if he said that he has seen women have that damage done during childbirth in that same area, and they have to fix it soon after. So if you're saying she had hemorrhoids and that injury, she could have. I mean, look, we're speculating, but it's clearly there. I think it's a childbirth injury.
I'm gonna see if I can find it. Here's just a standard frame I got off of John Greene's copy of the film, and I just boosted the contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can see the glutes very well right there.
Oh, yeah.
Here's something.
And the muscular back too. You see
the definition there as it comes down the spine and as the hair kind of gives that dark shadow as it goes out of her back end.
Well, and also they're moving in unison too. It's like I said, there's nothing working against anything. And if it was a suit, there would be obvious, struggle, somebody inside a suit. So also a point I would like to bring up, that right calf, it was in the shot earlier. I go back to that calf and that thigh, and then you look at the man who claimed that he was in the suit, and he's got bird legs. They're nowhere near that big around. So
that's very true.
Let's see here. There's a lot of interesting stuff in all these folders.
What?
Oh, I can't even begin to imagine how much you got on there.
What is your favorite aha? Look what I found clip.
Well, that as far as the odd and unusual that you don't expect, the hemorrhoids would probably.
Yeah.
Okay, this says pettyroids.
Pettyroid. Oh, bless her heart.
Yeah. Now she's bent over right here. That you're looking down her back. That's her arms, and her rear end is spread out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you see up in there.
Well, look, y'all.
Interesting.
That's exactly what you would expect, right? If she bent forward.
Bobby Short took that to a medical doctor who identified it as anal, not vaginal. No, vaginal, not anal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know which. No, I got it wrong.
We know what you mean.
The problem is, the point is that a medical doctor saw it as a medical problem.
Well,
and they also could recognize it as an actual, what's the word I'm looking for? It's an actual physical anomaly on the subject in the picture that they could recognize enough to know that it was either we're all adults here. Anal or vaginal was what they were looking at, and not just a lump in the soup, for lack of better terminology.
Doctors, they're just human beings, and you tell them, well, I run into a Bigfoot, and then you show them something medical, on your video.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they stop their laughing because they're trained to see that. I mean, they're
Exactly.
let me do this. I'll just do this and see if it helps. I'll filter it.
That's just like the scientists that went to the Olympic project, and they were doubting what they're about to see. And when they left, I've heard reports from people who were there personally told me that when they came out of the brush, they were smiling. They were surprised with the nest being actual primate nest and, whatever.
Okay, there it is. It's hanging out.
Mm.
See, that is the actual hole.
Wow.
Now, let me put it. I can do this right here.
What program are you using, sir?
I'm just using just a plain photo program, Photo Impact.
Photo Impact. Okay.
Not even a new version of it, but I've gotten very used to it.
I have a particular program I've used for the last 15 years, and I'm in the same boat. I haven't wanted to change, even though it's so outdated, because I'm so familiar with using it in my editing. So I was just curious.
We may have just solved the mystery of why she was at a cool creek.
That I mean, you're not kidding. I mean, that would make you go.
Oh me.
Now I just pasted it back in with about 40% transparency, so that's going to clear it up a good bit, and I'll merge it, and then I'll add the color back.
So, in the film, can you see does she trip, or why has she been over like that?
That's up to the viewer.
Okay,
but I know some more of the story.
Yeah,
but it's probably what I know. But I always leave it up to the viewer.
Right, and that's what I always liked watching the breakdown. Just like
Same.
even.
Now look at this. Look at this right here. You see, she's bent over. That is her hole.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it's just a fleshy. I see why the doctor said what he said.
It's painful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Bigfoot suits don't have hemorrhoids.
Well, look, yeah, that's right. The more you dig into stuff like this here, the more evidence stacks up in favor. And y'all look, I didn't just see one of MK's breakdowns and watch 30 seconds of it and go, oh man, it's real. I mean, I know, and Amanda has too. A lot of us have. A lot of our friends have sat and watched these for hours. So when I used to coach football, and when you are evaluating players for certain positions, you watch their mechanics and their footwork and how they move and how their hips move and how they can. You're like, okay, well, this person can play this position or whatever. You get an idea how the body works. And if you go to the gym and you watch people work out or you work out, it's things that a lot of people don't pay attention to. But the more you watch this film and because of Mr. Davis stabilizing it, you can see the fluidity of this. And people talk about all the time. The one I saw walked in a weird way. The back was straight and it was going uphill. Now this one here, I wish it would have been uphill a little bit so I could have compared, but yeah,
it gives you a lot, but it don't give you everything.
Right.
60 seconds is not a lot of time to be filmed, but because it was a live event, it's full, forensically speaking, was full of information.
Yeah.
And now it didn't do this. Only reason you got to see this is because she fell over if she's not on all fours, she's very close.
Yeah.
And
And
and then he's filming from a lower angle, and this is the top of the hill is right here. So he's down here filming up here, and he got just enough angle to catch this.
Where is her head in this picture?
Right there.
Okay.
yes,
dark-
she's
dark.
kind of bent forward. That
Okay.
Yeah, this is the stripe down her back. It's accentuated by the fact that you're looking straight down the back, which means that you see you're looking through a lot more hair. If you look
Okay.
straight, perpendicular at the back, it would just be a light coat of hair. But because it folds into the spine from each side, and because you're looking straight down the back, because she's bent over, it's much darker. That more hair you have to penetrate. The light has to penetrate.
Yeah, Greg was just talking about the Planet of the Apes in the same time period, and the big budget Hollywood couldn't come nowhere near this close to.
I doubt if Planet of the Apes, it's irrelevant to this.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and the thing, I keep bringing stuff like that up because I know we have people, that have watched a minute of some of this and they're like, I don't know whether it's real or not. But if you're really serious about the subject, I'm not saying this because you're here, Mr. Davis. We've done it before. I would send you to MK Davis's page, and you could watch and watch and watch and learn. It's like going to school.
Yeah, it really was. It's what I've been watching today was super educational.
And go to his page and be a skeptic. Watch it with a skeptic's eye and check it all out, and then tell us what you think.
That she's got something that throughout the film, from the very beginning until to the very end, that she's carrying in her left hand. She's got her left hand on it. She's not carrying it. It's actually suspended with a lanyard around her neck. But she keeps her left hand on it to keep it from swinging. I can show you that. And the Russians have gone and looked at it after I found it, and they concurred that she is carrying something. They always said back in the 70s that something was wrong about her left arm because she wasn't using it. So let me go first to this one.
Sean, I see your comment here. Yeah, man, go to Mr. Davis's page. It's Green Wave. What is it? Green Wave FB? I didn't write it down.
I forget myself whether I think it's FB 2010.
Okay.
I know for myself, you can just look up your name, MK Davis, on YouTube, and usually it's one of the first things to pop up is your YouTube channel.
Gary, can you post Mr. Davis's link, please, sir? Some of y'all that are new to this subject,
oh wow,
oh my goodness!
See the left thing? He's carrying it, and it goes up. It's suspended. All she's doing is keeping a hand on it, trying to keep it from swinging, and it goes around a rope around her neck. Now I'll show you. Hold on.
I'm going to pull up William's comment here while you're doing that again. This is actually a great observation. It says, watch the orientation of Patty's spinal column. It's about 20 degrees off from direct vertical. In humans, the spinal column is almost vertical. So
that's a good observation.
That's our resident Bigfoot doctor, Mr. Robinson.
Now you see where this rope is pulling on that skin?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It goes, see it bunched it up behind there too. It's going around her neck. And I'll show you where it shows up in another. Let me go back over here. Right here. First of all, let me go to the wider field. Okay. You see the rope right there.
Yes.
You just make
Okay,
it,
yeah.
yeah, and it's suspended on this side. She keeps it out of view or out of harm's way, whichever you want to call it. She makes an effort to keep them from getting a line of sight on it,
Wow.
whatever it is.
That
And
that
it's
same picture you just showed with her looking at the camera, basically,
yeah.
that's amazing. That's just
Yeah,
Let
it's
me go back
definitely
to this one. I want to show you something else too. Look at the palm of the hand.
mhm.
Now they did not know this in 1967, but that's an attribute of an ancient person. When they
hmm,
find the fossils, they may be 2.6 million years old. Their palms are curved.
Hmm.
interesting.
It's they say it's got something to do with grasping. Look up a Homo naledi when you get a chance, and Dr. Silver, who gave a discourse on that. He was in charge of examining the hands. There were 15 individuals found in a cave uh, in the Rising Star Caverns in South Africa.
I am definitely writing this down. I want to remember
Yeah,
that.
Well, and look, the once again, where the elbow area is and the length of the triceps, um, usually in guys, I mean, we have longer bones here, but usually to me, that's a shorter part of the arm. The
yeah,
length a lot of times comes from, and just
yeah.
how it comes out of the shoulder is not right.
It's different proportions.
Mhm, it definitely.
You'll find a number for people who have that. It'd be like 1 in 10,000 or something
Mhm.
like that. Uh, people vary a lot, but uh, what she's showing is not normal for a modern man.
No.
It's probably normal for her.
Just
Now let me go to the complete look back. I found it right here. Object in left hand. That's it right there. It looks like about the size of a catcher's mitt.
mhm. So
Hmm.
we thinking that they can make.
Watch that. Uh, See it right there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's a totally different, it's a tan color. It's not the same color as anything else, I don't think. That's just my observation.
It's just hard to see and
Yeah.
a film like that. And, you know, I keep trying to use the tricks that artists use. Reverse the film and let her walk the opposite way. It kicks open the analytical part of your brain.
Mhm.
If it don't, it'll go into the part of your brain that when you look in the refrigerator for something. You just think you ain't dedicating a lot of brain power to it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, so if you kind of move it around, just look at it different ways, you'll begin to pick out the real fine stuff, and
Y'all,
it's fine, but it's important
how
because she's carrying something, and that's why she's using her not using her left arm.
do you have any idea what's the circumference of that tree that she's behind?
No, I sure don't. There may be someone who knows.
But that
That may
just
be something good
looking at
to
it,
figure out.
look at what you can, like, when she's right there, look at what you can see. Her
Mhm.
hand is so far out,
She's
and her rear.
counterbalancing the weight
Mhm.
that's on this side. Uh, this this weight and whatever's in there is pretty chunky. And I know that people used to carry around what you call a parfletch back in the day, and it just essentially a skin that you fold over, and it's got a little pocket in it. You carry your goods, whatever you need to. Indians carried arrowhead making
Mhm.
stuff in there, but they've been used for centuries. And this looks like it could be one of those, but whatever's in it's heavy. and
That is
it's
wild.
valuable enough that she tries to keep it on her other side.
Hiding it. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting.
Do do you have available where you closed in on the mouth area where she shows her teeth, where she kind of does a growl or a grimace,
I'm not sure whether it's a growl or anything.
or is it?
There's some that seem to show the teeth, and the others that I'm positive it shows the teeth.
Mhm.
Um,
But
let me look 352, and I'll just do it for you here. Let me find it here.
yeah, Pyro asked about the flash. Yeah, we talked that he
Mhm.
found the flash. We might get into that. Yeah. There's so much to get into. We probably won't get into all of it tonight.
Yeah, I can imagine there's so many frames of it. I mean, the famous one, was it 350, 352? That's basically the famous one. And I mean, that's in the middle of the walk across the sandbar. So I can imagine how many frames is there, Mr. Davis? Do you know off the top of your
There,
head?
there's almost 1,000, just short of 1,000.
Wow.
That was kind of what I was thinking as well, but I didn't want to misspeak.
352.
Well, and look, we're speculating but it's fun to speculate. We're looking at evidence, and we
Mhm.
can all come up with, ideas like people in the chat here. And as soon as I see that, I start going back to these stories of hearing about the Native Americans trading and
Mhm.
having trading in relationships and stuff. And just think people may say, well, how does a Bigfoot make a pouch? Well, they probably could because they're probably using probably smarter than we are because they've got thumbs, so that's not out of the possibility. But also, it could have been something she traded for. That's speculation. I understand, but when
Mhm.
you start seeing the evidence, it gives a little credibility to some of the stories you've heard, from the past.
Right. I have no doubt that they probably do swap and trade resources and stuff.
Mhm.
Let me try.
Well, think about the Sunquehanna legends up there in the PNW, where they carry it's a female and it carries a basket that it scoops up and takes off the children's. I mean, there it is carrying uh, an outside physical object besides just its hands to take and hold and steal things. So having, for lack of a better word, a coin purse in her hand isn't definitely outside of the realm of possibility for sure.
Also, I think Mr. Davis said something earlier about the hairstyle. Is it was it a braid or something that
Yeah.
might
Yes,
have
it
seen?
is. It's a braid. It's
Oh,
a
that's neat to know.
it's herringbone pattern. Yeah. I'm looking for this original print that hasn't been enhanced or anything, and I was going to just do that for you. There it is, right there. I got this from Miss Patterson. And I can't tell you how thrilled I was to have something of this
Oh,
high
I bet.
quality. It pretty much proved me right on that there was a better version of the film. This was from a
We're
four by
getting
five.
out. We're
Yeah,
live. I'm like
we're looking in,
looking up
yeah.
real close at it, trying to read. Like, wait.
That's cool.
We go edit
You can just
page.
see the color difference.
It's now the only thing I've done to this is the plastic had turned color. You know, the celluloid,
Mhm.
and I corrected for that. But the dyes were all very good shape. Uh, so uh, let me just do this right here. There's nothing been done to her. That's just how they filmed it.
Mhm.
Okay, now
And you said this was from one of Mrs. Patterson's not negatives, the films.
a 4x5 transparency. It's a full color transparency.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. I couldn't remember the term. Sorry.
She kept them in a shoebox, and she pulled that shoebox out, gonna show me something Roger wrote. And when she pulled the envelope out, it hung on to these and dumped them in the floor. And she said, "Oh, those are Roger's negatives." And I said, "No, ma'am, these aren't negatives. These are positives." And I held those things up to the light. Oh my Lord, this is what like a dream.
Right.
Mhm.
Now, a reason I lassoed it because it don't take too much off my computer power. This is already you look up at the top. You say it's 5,028 by. It's a 51 meg photo.
Mhm.
And you just look right there. You'll see two pieces of debris, film debris, right there on the lip. And then right beside it, you'll see the teeth, and they'll start to appear. Right there is the teeth. See them right there. They're crooked. One is lapped over the other. Let me zoom in just a little bit. The mouth is open. This is the bottom lip right here. Those are get a pointer. These are the teeth. There's a little line down it right there, divides the two teeth, and the teeth are crooked. To me, it looks like a cleft palate almost. I looked up cleft palate, and cleft palate was amongst native peoples in that area was a more than prominent thing.
Oh wow!
And y'all look, okay, while he's got this, close up here, look at the shape of the head. But I was shocked seeing this view here, and you got the cone look at the massive features of the cheeks and the brow ridge. I was shocked at how flat her face was in another angle. It's almost completely flat, isn't it? From what we can see.
It's what I would call it a normal face. That if it didn't have the hair, you would think you were looking at not that much different from ours. The teeth are properly shaped for a human being.
Where do we think the ears are located?
I can show you. You want me to show you an ear?
Yes, sir.
I can show you one ear.
I like MK.
You beat me to it, Roger. I was actually going to ask the same question.
Hey, we got you here for a little while. We're going. You show whatever you want to. Okay, this is the honor for me to sit here and talk to you.
Okay,
one of the questions, if you don't mind me asking, Mr. Davis, while you're looking, that was in amongst my list of questions was how did you get to meet Mrs. Patterson, and then in turn how did it transpire that where she was able to let you get your hands on some of this?
She was a super nice lady. I consider myself to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
She believed in what I was doing, and she invited me over.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So
she must have liked your Southern charm.
Well, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but it all seemed to work.
I tease. Small world. My hubby's from Mississippi, so
I'm going to show you. What part of Mississippi is he from?
Little town of Red Banks, just south of Memphis, just south of the border.
We have the north up there.
He's a northern. Mississippi.
Okay, this right here is hair. This is a long tuft of hair, and there's the braid on the end of it. The wind blows it around. So I oscillated the file where it go back and forth, and then freeze it in mid swing.
Huh.
Okay. Then it ends up on the cheek, and over the ear, and you see the ear. Let me see. You can see the hair style right here, real good on this filtered image compared to the raw image. It's that part of the cone is involved in this hairstyle. It's what you call a top knot. Let's see. Now here's the ear, and you can see the braid on it. There's the braid.
Oh, wow.
That the wind took the braid up and over the ear, and it's sitting on his cheek, and then you expose the ear for a couple of frames.
Wow.
And you see it doesn't have a real long lobe. It's kind of round. It's got a little more flesh on the bottom side, but it's not like a lot of people who have something to put an earring in. You could probably put one in there, but it would be it's small.
Out of curiosity, because I've had several witnesses who have described their hair as almost in like dreadlock types. So when you were showing that little piece coming off there in that black and white there, so that was really interesting. But I wonder, are there any in any of the frames that you've seen that you could tell where it's clear enough to determine if it's the actual braid or if it's like a dreadlock?
Oh yeah, it is.
Interesting. That's really cool.
Let me go.
My brain's going 100 miles an hour right now because I'm also thinking, well, there's also the horse braid theory and stuff like that. They think Bigfoot might be responsible for some of the horse braid dreadlocks as well.
Okay. This is what's called braid walk complete. It'll show that, and then it'll continue to walk.
Mm-hmm.
You just watch it there. There's your braid, and
oh, you can see the mouth open there too.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I was thinking. And look at
it's got a herringbone pattern in it.
Okay, yeah, you can see that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And whenever Todd Gatewood, he contacted me and wanted to know if I had a quality picture from the film that he could work on. And I sent him that red filtered image. And when he sent it back to me, I'll show you what it had on it. Let me find it here. Let's see here.
Y'all, I asked Mr. Davis before we come on how many hours he thought he'd put into this, and he said he didn't even want to get
quite a bit.
Quite a few.
Let's see, Patterson. Let's see, research, Patterson film, Patterson authentic files, Patterson film. Let me see if I can find the right one. Let me just go down. Some of it I have to find it a certain way. It's from memory.
I couldn't imagine
how many rolls of this scroll on this mouse.
Had to keep replacing. Would they be mice or the mouses? Replacing the mouse.
Let's see.
We're out of bearing.
Should have been on there. Yeah, upscale.
While you're doing that, I saw
right here.
Oh, go ahead.
You'll see the braid underneath this loose hair that's falling back over the ear. The braid is still under there. You see the end of it. That's how I knew Todd wasn't using AI, because AI would have never seen that as a braid.
Look at that nose.
Yeah, really.
I've got a witness here in this county. They gave a really detailed, up close, like 20 foot away, when he was younger, and he was talking about the nose was hooded like ours, and talking about how big the mouth was. And he said when it was stealing a calf, and they interrupted it too. They were 12 and 13, and it huffed at them like it was frustrated, like you just interrupted dinner, and it looked at him and huffed. And he said he saw the teeth, and this face. Pretty much, he talks about the skin. He said you could see the pock marks, like where her cheeks are, and then the hair started. This is pretty close to what he was, and he's not an internet guy. It watches all these shows and stuff. So,
do you remember what year Todd Gatewood produced this image?
Only about a year ago.
That's what I was thinking. It was fairly recent.
I've got a. Let's see here.
So
you can probably see this if I can turn it around. See it? I've got that blow up he sent me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So AI, or I use it a little bit, but so it doesn't. Just to be clear, it doesn't add features or.
AI will, yes.
Okay.
AI is taking the summation of knowledge, like that frame 352 that I showed you. There's a paw print in the sand right out the very bottom of the frame, and when you put it through an AI and you just 10% AI, you can move that little slider to 100% if you want, but it's 10% AI. That paw print becomes a tuft of grass, because the AI is looking at other tufts of grass. It don't recognize a paw print. It because it scans the entire frame. It don't see a dog. So it can't be used forensically for anything. It's not reliable. It gets digits wrong. Sometimes it'll put 6 fingers on.
I've used it some for fun, and and what I was thinking, like, I don't really know how it works. I know, like a CD, the old CDs, when you listen to music, if there was a scratch, it would fill in like the most what notes made the most sense or whatever when the computer would. I know that's basic, but I didn't know if it would add, or because there was one that you showed before this that I was pretty dang clear before that.
I didn't see it correctly. I was seeing it a little wrong. Once he did his, I realized, what I was looking at. But it's there we go. I don't want to take anything away from anybody. I think he did an outstanding thing. But there's not that many frames of this quality. This came from that Mr. Bonnie, who was working with film that came out of the camera. I could read that to you if you want me to. I'll read his work to you.
Okay.
That would be great.
What he stated about it. Hold on just a minute.
Roger, I apologize. I got something in my eye. I'll be right back.
No, go ahead.
Bruce Bonnie papers, but I just read the first paper here. Okay, comments on John Beckyard's Baby by Bruce Bonnie. John Beckyard reported in the June 1981 issue of Bigfoot Co-op that he sees a baby Sasquatch creature in the Patterson-Gimlin film that is hanging on for dear life to the Sasquatch mama creature. I was amazed by this bizarre announcement because I have never seen a baby Sasquatch in the film, and I know that the creature's walking alone on the sandbar. I say that I know because I'm working with color photographs taken directly from the original film the same film that Roger Patterson was running in his camera at Bluff Creek. In January 1980, I participated in the first program to produce high-quality color photographs from the original Patterson-Gimlin film. The original 16mm Kodachrome 2 film was first enlarged and printed on a 4x5-inch Kodak Ektachrome duplicating film, 6121. These 4x5-inch color transparencies were then contact printed on Ilford Cibachrome A color printing material, the sharpest color printing paper available. This printing's pardon?
All right. Sorry, that was my phone.
Yeah.
Sorry. I turned it on.
Let's see, get back to it. This printing sequence resulted in the sharpest and clearest color prints ever made of the best frames of the film, having the highest resolution and greatest color fidelity yet produced. For the first time, we have prints which clearly show the creature's face with eyes, nostrils, and lips. The maximum limit of anatomical resolution in the three sharpest Cibachrome prints is about 1 centimeter, meaning that details of the creature's body larger than 1 square centimeter in area are visible in the prints and are capable of basic identification. So if the Sasquatch mama creature is carrying a baby in the film, then the baby must be smaller than 1 cubic centimeter in volume, smaller than a marble or a grape, because it is not visible in the Cibachrome prints. And I agree with that. But what he's telling us is that the original film was way better, which is what I supposed in the beginning.
Yeah.
When I started this project, it was mostly to acquire the better prints and let the film tell its own story.
So I worked at a drive-in for a little while years ago, and it just hit me that the people were saying I saw it at, in early 70s at this and that. So they had to have copies to send out to all of these places. And I didn't realize how some of these could have been, copied so many times. That just hit me. I'm slow, y'all, but that's like they would come in and they would put in, they would splice together like previews for other movies or commercials or stuff like that, even then, before it all turned to digital. But I wonder who distributed the Patty film to the theaters. Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I think Roger Patterson went a little crazy. It's something that important. He should never have done that.
Yeah.
You
He got a
distributed
little excited.
after science has. Now, you couldn't really depend on science too well, but the one reason why you couldn't depend on it is once they find out that the chain of possession was lost.
Right.
Then they don't know who did what with it.
Right. You don't know. It's impossible to tell. Man, that would be cool to find some old theater somewhere with a box
It's been done. It's been done.
Oh, how cool.
That Mike, the guy on the coast that has a museum on the West Coast, Mike Rugg. Mike Rugg had someone give him a copy that came off a movie copy. And he gets to feeling all, kind of self-righteous, and calls Miss Patterson, tells her he's got it and he's going to give it to her. And she didn't care about, she wasn't going to think any more of him if he gave it to her or not. He didn't owe her. All she has is rights. She don't have the ownership of copies that belong to someone else.
Right.
Which they got spread around by Roger Patterson and other people, making copies of copies. It begins to degrade. You know that. What they show on TV is nothing but a black silhouette walking across, and you can't really tell what it is.
Right.
Patterson's saying, y'all need to believe this. and they say, "Believe what?" They didn't see what we're seeing here tonight,
Right.
or they might have had a different opinion.
Well, that's this is a comparison. I remember Greg and I were talking about like space
There's me
movies.
and Miss Patterson right there.
Oh,
That's-
wow.
She's a real not nice lady. She loves the color purple. Everything is purple.
That is cool.
Her clock is purple.
Oh,
Is that
salt shakers and
she's got the
everything is
purple grapes up there
Grape.
too.
Yeah, she makes beadwork. She does beadwork, and they're all purple.
is this the trip where you took the picture you used beside the Bluff Creek sign?
No.
Oh, you were younger back then?
I was a little younger back then. There's some more purple stuff right there in the window.
But I remember seeing the stabilized version for the first time and just being stunned. So
You stunned me too.
I could just imagine being.
I was expecting an improvement, but I wasn't expecting it to
Right.
just knock your socks off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Has anybody else taken the original and tried to stabilize it, or is it just
they've used some AI stabilization where the AI creates 60 frames per second when it was shot at 16, so 40 something frames per second are invented.
But if we see basically a stabilized version, it's your work, right?
Yeah, unless it's that real smooth one that's 60 frames per second, and that's AI did that.
Okay.
But it's not it doesn't have any value for forensic value.
Mhm.
Let me see if I can find some.
I know there's several people that did breakdowns. Were you the one that did the breakdown of the shock when she took a step and slowed it down, the shock wave going up the thigh? Was that you or somebody
Let me
else?
see what this is. Might be that. Yeah, you can see that's with the leg bulge. When you back away and run at full speed, you can see it's a shock wave going up the muscle.
Doc in chat here, when he does that again, look at that tendon that runs up the back of that. I don't know whether it's a hamstring. It's on the outside. Look at that strong tendon right there.
Mhm.
From the knee, the right side of the knee running up. That is impressive.
You
the
wouldn't
muscle
want her.
definition right there. That's not just.
Well, I mean, you can tell that it's meat.
Exactly.
Yeah, meat. Exactly. It's a great word for it.
Look, Mr. I keep wanting to call you MK, but Mr. Davis, I've watched this thing so many times trying to go, oh, he's making stuff up, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Because I wanted it to be real, right? Obviously. But I like to look at things with question, open mind. And what you did, you're just presenting what's there, what's on the film. That's what I liked. Was like,
I put it in if you want to look at the leg, I stabilize the leg and then concentrate on it, but I don't change anything.
And here's another thing, y'all. She's not running. Okay. When we walk, you're not going to see a gap that big in our stride.
Mhm.
When we're running, yes. But when we're in a normal walk, like she's probably walking a little quick, but look at the stride there. I mean, the gap that you can pick out. Am I seeing that right? Is that
I think you are.
It's just too much. There's just too much. Wow, that's incredible.
I put high quality inserts in the walk across. See what that does.
Yeah, this one right here, that's my favorite.
Wow, y'all, we don't look like that. You can watch people walk all day long at a normal pace, and you're not going to see that stride. Y'all start paying attention to this. Start being people watchers. You see people walking in Walmart parking lot, all different ages, all different heights, all different sizes. And you watch their stride and see how much of a gap that you see.
This is some of the original early parts. Oh, this right here, this low resolution. Hold on. You see how violent, it was. You see the edges go way out here, and I held her steady.
That's he was tripping and falling off the horse or
Yeah.
getting up or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, I see he's down below her right there, and then she goes down, and then he takes that hemorrhoid picture.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I've never expected to be talking about Bigfoot hemorrhoids, but
See him go right at the last. He goes down. She does. I didn't freeze frame it there. I have some and are freeze framed. Hold on, let me see if I can find
it. There's some weird stuff in Walmart parking lot. I hear you. You can learn a lot. And I laugh at myself so I can laugh at other people. I don't feel guilty. I do stupid stuff all the time.
And they literally have a website called People of Walmart for a reason.
That's why I don't go. I'm gonna end up on there one of these days.
You might win the top prize, but you never know.
You never know. That's right. Me.
Not going out there in your Cookie Monster PJs.
No. Go. Never mind. Yeah. Y'all. Heather will go in. Of course, now with my hip, she'll go in, and I'll sit out there and watch people. And humans are hilarious. Just being human, it's funny. And is that the last point where we see her there?
This is the last frame in the first walk sequence. You'll see her. She'll go down, and I freezed it right there. But that's not the frame that has the hemorrhoids. It's one right before it.
Okay.
Now let me see if I can find a better one. I've got one that makes a panorama of the whole sandbar.
Oh, that'd be cool to see. I was actually wondering how far away the first walk sequence is in
there
distance.
There she is with the hemorrhoids. Yeah. This one, I highlight that.
Well, I was shocked when somebody did a recreation and measurements on a documentary at how short of a distance this actually is. The way it looks, with this lens and all that, I'm not an expert, but you know how cameras do. It looks like she's, 50, 60 yards away, but that's not the case, is it?
No.
It's close.
That's why I learned early on. People were trying to discourage me. They said, man, you can't. She was 120 something feet away, but it's impossible for you to do. As a matter of fact, Dr. Henry Fehrenbach wrote an entire paper on the impossibility of seeing anything more from the Patterson film. And while I was showing more, and so what I had to say about it was, well, how come I'm showing more? There's got to be a reason for that. If I'm getting more out of it, then your information is wrong.
Well, and two, what people have to realize, you're focused on the subject, her right here. You could focus on other parts of this and stabilize it and pick up details of anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Well, anyways, I looked up Dr. Fehrenbach, and I wonder if he must be a photography guy. And he wasn't. He was. He studied invertebrates. Marine invertebrates, like oysters and stuff.
So yeah,
he had no expertise at all in photography. He was just repeating something that he heard.
And to me, I have no. I know nothing. So I'm glad there's people like you that do know.
Well,
So
you
we
have if you're going to doing something with this film, you have to put on blinders where
yeah.
you don't let people distract you. They'll try to tell you, give it up. It's no way. You can't see that. You can't do any more. They said the creature is only 1.8 millimeters. Well, I asked, in what frame is it 1.8 millimeters? Because it moves moving away, and when the film ends, it's only less than half the size that it was when it began. When it began, it took up the whole frame.
Right.
Which frame are you calling 1.8?
And it's not, and the camera is obviously not on a tripod. So he's
Yeah.
moving. He's changing positions. She's changing.
He's moving, shortening that distance up, trying to catch up to her. The point is that if it's responding to known photographic enhancements, techniques, and things like that are known to work, then that their information is wrong. They're given the wrong distances and
Well,
other things.
Mhm.
Also,
well,
I found out that Patterson carried more than one camera.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I met the guy whose father rented him. He rented him 2 cameras. He said he rented him a Kodak K100, and then he rented him a Bolex. Well, a Bolex is very high quality. You make professional movies with Bolex, and it has sound and all that.
so is this the Kodak then that he
No,
filmed with?
this man worked at a photo house in Yakima, Washington, where I had those transparency scanned.
Which
His his
which
father
oh,
his
sorry.
father rented him Patterson the movie cameras.
So which camera did Patterson use for this stretch?
I'm gonna say, judging by that frame 352,
Mm-hmm.
the Bolex probably.
Okay.
They're both 16 millimeter. Begins the
wild.
second walk sequence when she's out on the sandbar. You can see where she looks back at him twice.
You also see as it stabilized how he's moving closer, or you can see the position change by the angle.
Right.
Yeah,
See the,
right.
Too.
You see that log grow.
right in the foreground.
Yeah. So all of that is hooey, is what it is. Is smoke. I think people want you to give up. And I don't know what their motives are, but they want you to give up. And there'll be somebody that has been in Bigfooting for 50 years and has never shown anybody anything, trying to get you to stop.
Right. And why? It's like, why butt in? Here's a great question, David Rosty. I hope I said your name right. After all your years of analyzing the PG film frame by frame, what detail or moment, no matter how small, do you believe has been most overlooked or misunderstood by the broader Bigfoot community?
And that was actually one of my questions I had. So thank you, David, for bringing up that question as well.
Great question.
I'll show you. Hold on just a minute.
I like. Okay,
I'll
show you.
I love. He's like, I got some. I'll show you. Hang on. I love it.
I deal in images mostly. I try to let the film do the talking.
Right. I remember waiting and seeing a new video pop up, and he's like, "Hi, I'm MK Davis." I'm like, "Oh, cool," and sit there and watch the and I would show it to my dad because he never saw one, but they had something jump off of a bank about 40 foot and landed in the road behind them one night, and it was on 2 feet, and it just shook the ground when it hit. And
that image right there.
Wow.
That's the one that's hard to explain. And that's me holding it in Miss Patterson's backyard, and I put a piece of typing paper behind it. And that hole is a hole. It's not the creek. It's a dugout hole. You see the berm there.
Yep.
And it's full of bloody red.
Yeah.
And
That
that
man, wow.
Miss Patterson told me some things that made me go take a second look at this film, and this image alone uh, agrees with what Miss Patterson told me.
Well, and I had heard a little bit years ago, but then we saw a video get re-released this week, and I'm sure you're getting lots of phone calls.
I know I had not. Is
Yeah.
that Grendel Films?
Well, Scott Carpenter's son released
Oh yeah.
his dad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, Travis.
Bobby Short, and
Yeah.
their conversations. Yeah,
Yep.
Bobby Short had a pretty good investigation going on her own self. You know, we talked, but you know, she was no slouch as far as digging up stuff.
Yeah. Well, so I think, was it you that mentioned maybe before that there's possibly another subject in the film and all that, and then when you find out what possibly could have happened, um how did you just do like you always do, go back to the film and let it do the talking?
Yeah, if the film don't agree with it, then
Yeah.
I don't want to go with it because you have to have some images.
Right.
So let me see here.
And that's what I tell people. You have people
Here.
get vicious if you go against what they think's true, and
Cognitive dissonance.
and we just need to discuss this stuff, and if you get a lot of he said she said. I like MK. I like, let's go look and see what we can find
Now,
out.
this right here it came from a copy of the film from that guy Eric Beckyard through Gordon Strassenberg and then to me. Actually, there's another person involved. I'm not sure if he wants his name used. I better hold off from that, but that's how it got to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it in an ion film scanner. It's designed to scan 35 millimeter, but when you put it in there, there's a hole on the other side of an 8 millimeter hole because it's only 16 millimeter. So I put what you call a cardboard block to block out that hole. And it put all the light through the film, slightly overexposed it, but the colors are vivid. And this is that red hole.
Well, I've had people mistakenly talking to me and say, "Well, the Patterson-Gimlin film was black and white," and I'm like, "No, it was not." I mean,
Mm-hmm.
where are you getting at? If you watch MK stuff, there's
There's the
color there.
trench. There's a trench
I
in the
did.
first walk sequence.
Yep.
They tried to drain this hole, and it worked for a little bit, but then you can't drain it so low, and you become the level of the creek. That stuff
Right.
is creek water backing through there.
So let me ask you this. I don't we don't get too much into it, but I do have a question. One thing, the timing, if this happened, and I know you probably, there's some things you can't say, but was it happenstance that Patterson was there, or do you think this was something that was planned?
Definitely not planned.
Okay.
I've got a video testimony from Al Hodson,
Mm-hmm.
who said that he called Patterson thinking everybody had left from down there. He didn't know that they had all come back. And Patterson said, "Yes, I'm coming on down." And when he arrived, they all arrived pretty close to the same time. So they surprised each other. Patterson was very, very much no kill. I don't think that he would ever would have done that unless it was to try to save his life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I found some film evidence that Patterson had been down there. I found where horse droppings.
Right.
Where he had a couple of small horses and a pack animal. So that just is what it is. There's a trench.
So
that hole's over here. That's it. They dug it out trying to drain it back to the creek.
Right.
And it filled with this red stuff, but then it won't go but down but so far, and it reaches the level of the creek, and that's it. So
in your video with the flash for a few frames, there's only a few things that could cause that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're a logical person,
yeah. Either somebody was taking pictures, or it could have been there's only a few things. We'll just put it that way. I don't know. It's people are like, when they hear the details and they get emotional. How could people be like that? Look, I grew up around farmers and stuff and hunters, and if I told some stories that I've seen, people would be horrified.
I could get in trouble.
Right. Yeah. Same. I mean, so I don't know. I'm not
I don't judge anybody.
Right. That's why I don't want
to. Nobody's judge.
Right. Exactly. Good. That was perfect. That's what I was trying to think. What I needed to say, but I don't know what was going on.
Watch down here. You'll see this dog print.
Yep.
Now watch what happens when I boost the contrast. It turns red. You see a little streak of red right here, and another one right over here. That's really broken ground. It's not smooth. The bloody red hole, is over here, on to the left, off the field of view. Mm-hmm. And that dog, the white dog, which I have on another film, was stepped in that stuff and spread it. And he's being walked on a tether by a handler.
And so you're saying that there wasn't a dog with Patterson and Gimlin. It was another group of people.
It was with the other people.
Yeah.
It came out of Canada.
Yeah.
It wasn't any of Roger's doings. I'll tell you that. Yeah. And I don't think it was Gimlin's doings either. Gimlin was helping Roger out. Didn't even really believe it.
Hillary, excuse me, MK. She said a lot of us were confused. Here's what I'll do. I'll post a link to Mr. Carpenter's his explanation on woodwalkers, and
he does a good job. I really miss Scott.
Well, talking about that, I watched the show the other night. I like watching a lot of shows. Just sometimes I don't say anything, and I saw you and Mr. Ron Moorhead together, and y'all did y'all find some huge tracks somewhere, didn't you?
Yeah, out there in the desert.
That's what I was thinking.
Nevada.
Oh, Nevada, that's cool.
Yeah, and they were huge.
You see that right there?
Yeah.
That's a Bigfoot track.
Oh, I see where
it's at an oblique angle. It's hard to see.
The middle part, you can see where it kicks up.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they see where somebody touched it with a ballpoint pen. All subsequent copies of this are cropped right across here. All this stuff down in the bottom is cropped out.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, somebody got rid of this red track.
I said something about the Zapruder film being cropped, and where the trees don't line up and everything. The bottom half of the trees over here, and a lot of people have never seen
you'll see right here a white handprint on that log. Brighten it up a little bit.
A lot of dark around it too.
Yeah. Well, that's because I lassoed it.
Oh, okay.
It's somebody touched their hands while they had lime down there. That was being, they were trying to construct a road, and they were cutting logs out of there, and they were bringing trucks down there on a sandbar, 18-wheelers. And they mixed lime with that sand and let it set up. And somebody got it all over their hands, and it's all over Patty's feet. She walked across it. That's why her feet are all white.
Shows like that.
Yeah,
I wondered that.
She walked through that quicklime.
Yeah, that definitely, because I've always wondered if that was just a reflection of the light, like the soles of her feet were light hitting it, just like made it look so bright, or if there was something on it. So
right.
that's a good theory.
You look at this stuff forensically, and you see that it's got a lot of stuff out there in this one photograph.
You can see a lot of cut logs.
Yeah, they did a lot of logging in there.
Yeah, and even like
that's not natural there. It's some of it's very flat where it's been cut.
Well, that one up to the top left looked like it might have been hand planed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just it may not, but it's just it's a irregular shape. It's not round. I saw one that was pretty cool. And I'm pretty sure it was you. I have to keep saying that because I've watched so much. But how many times have you been to Bluff Creek yourself?
Oh, probably close to 20 times.
Wow.
And
I was watching one, and correct me if I'm wrong, you came back and was going through some video, and you saw that human figure at the creek that reaches and grabs the bag. Was that you?
Yeah, that's me. I'm not really 100% sure on that. I have questioned my compadres more enough to where they were mad at me.
Right. So you're trying to roll them out.
They deny it vehemently. So I don't know. I went and had the original taken off. I still had the little mini HD tape,
mm-hmm.
and I had it taken off that, and I thought I could see color in there, like the color of their shirts.
Right.
But both of them deny ever being in that position.
And there's something definitely there. I mean, it moves and it grabs. Was it a bag or something that moved out of the way?
I'm not sure what it is.
It's something whitish.
I didn't get to look at it until 7 years had passed because I loaned it to somebody.
Oh, okay.
I loaned it to a friend of mine who was out of work, and he was disabled, and he wanted to start a what do you call it, a royalty film business,
mm-hmm.
where you pay royalty, to get a film. I said, well, I got some real good film of Northern California. Matter of fact, I let him have 2 or 3 tapes, and I couldn't get them back. He wouldn't answer his phone, wouldn't answer his emails. And finally, I got a friend of mine who was a third party intervened. He knew us both, and he was able to get a hold to him and convince him to send them back. So he sent them back, and 7 years had elapsed.
Wow.
And I was going over it for the first time in 7 years, and I saw that white cloth or whatever it is move because it's really dark images.
Yes.
Under that shade. That was the best. But when I had it taken off professionally off there and put on a DVD, it seemed to show more color. So I'm kind of lost about it. I don't know for sure. I also found another instance where I think there was a Bigfoot in the same film up on the mountain. I can show you that, I think. Hold on.
I like it. It's like setting sitting on the back porch with MK Davis going through his computer. I
Oh, I
love
know.
it. I love it.
Let's see here.
Have you ever seen a Bigfoot? Like with your
I have right there on that spot.
I know. I know. Oh, you have actually seen a Bigfoot in that area?
Yeah.
Oh,
I have.
sweet.
I had to look under the brush. I saw him walking along the hillside.
Wow, I did not know that. Good question. Somebody in chat asked that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either. That's actually really cool.
Because we
Was
talked
it
to
an adult or a juvenile or anything that you were able to tell?
I found this rock stack first. It wasn't far from the Patterson film site. It was 1, 2, and 3. And if you look, you can see that it's got a hand palm print right here. And you can see where it was pulled out of
yeah.
Oh, okay.
of the creek. And right after that, wham, something, it hits a tree with such force that you could hear the wood ringing, the resonance. And I looked underneath there was a lot of willows growing there. You know how willows come up, and I could see the figure going along the hillside away from us, and that I was closer than Patterson was to Patty, but because of obstructions, I didn't have a open, clear look at it.
For those of us who don't know and probably will never get to go there, is it a big creek with rushing water where you can hear it, or where it would cover up sounds, or is it a slower? Because it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. Here, there's a lot of sandbars. I'm assuming during a flood or a lot of rain it gets up. But is it in this area? I guess what I'm asking is, it like, can you hear it? A quarter of a mile from when you get to it, or is it a slow run?
It depends on time of year, how much snow is melting.
Yeah,
it's in the high areas, the high altitudes. So it gets snow melt on up through the summer.
Okay, so
this is what I saw in the film later on. I told you it was another one.
Mm-hmm.
I call him Harry Larry.
Is that what you got?
Yeah, see him right there.
Oh wow!
What?
I panned across him. I didn't see him. I just panned across him.
Right.
I found it after the 7 years had gone by.
It looks like
Watch this.
The position of the head changed in those. If I was looking at it correctly.
Oh wow! Yep,
What
there he
the
is.
I stopped him there. I just did this work a day or two ago, and I brightened him up some.
With that, I'll bid you adieu.
Y'all, I'm gonna tell you something. The second one I saw was that black like that. The first one was like milk chocolate.
He broke that limb. He broke that limb off right there. He broke it off this tree right here.
Is that what you heard, or?
Yeah, I heard it. But I was like a fool. I was obsessed with this waterfall. I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
You sound like me.
And I could hear. You can hear it on the video. Him breaking the limbs as a waterfall. Now let me see if I can limb break at the waterfall. Listen to this. Hear him breaking a limb?
Is that what that was?
Yeah. I don't know how good you can hear it. I can hear it real good.
You can hear something in the background. Yeah.
Well, look, MK, we've had stuff happen to us here, and people always ask, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? A lot of times it's there, but I don't know what it is. There was one time we heard a rock clacking. I heard it, but my wife was like, you hear that, but I didn't even react to it.
See that limb right there? He
That's
busted it.
snapped off.
He snapped, and there it is laying there.
That's green. That's fresh.
Yeah.
That's not.
That dude right there did it. I got no doubt.
How many frames do you have him in?
Just whatever I panned across him.
You
I
panned
panned across him twice.
Can you
But
tell if he moved?
The thing about it is, and I thought back about it. This is one of those weird things about Bigfoot, is that I won't say mind control, but I'll say that somehow or another they can distract you to the point where you don't even care if a Bigfoot is there.
That's what I kind of was getting at, but I didn't want to sound, when things are happening, you get distracted. I don't know I don't know what it is, but when we had the rock thrown at us, my phone is in my pocket. We're not talking, and it says, I don't quite understand. And this rock is hitting the ground right as that happens. And I turn to my phone and pull it out to see what's wrong with it and completely forget about this 4 or 5 pound rock that was just tossed at us.
That's similar to what happened there. I could not keep my eyes off that waterfall. And that wasn't me at all. I'm here to tell you that. You could hear the limb breaking and everything. And I just looked at tracks, fresh tracks, and a deer carcass.
And look, I'm here to say, I know what you're talking about, and it's hard to explain to people.
I'll show what we found down at the bottom of the mountain. Same day.
I've never heard this story.
Let's see. Let me go find the bottom. Here you go.
Now this is the pit area. What we think is the pit.
That's
area.
the old lime pile.
Nothing grows. Nothing's growing in it. And relationship to the cable.
You see, look at all that.
Is that the tree or the different one?
That's down at the bottom of the mountain. That's in Bluff Creek.
Here's something that we found around here. We found that someone has marked the spot. You'll notice this tree's been broke off. Look, there's 3 notches and 2 slashes.
That's right interesting.
On that tree.
How high up was that break?
That pretty far up. I mean, I could reach the top where the limb was broke off.
So is this eye level the marks?
Now look at this.
You look. This is the pit. These are similar notches.
Okay. Yeah.
Move your stick there, Don. Move yourself a little bit.
What is that?
It's a birch tree. It looked like. See, these are healed up. They're much older.
Yes.
3 notches and a slash. Very interesting.
Yeah, those are definitely more healed over than the other one, it looked like.
Can you tell us who's in the video talking?
That's Don Monroe. And that's me talking, narrating it, and that's Don that's helping me right there.
Okay. Thank you.
We also had Ken Iddens there. There was 3 of us. You see, so they're done at different times, similar markings.
Well, those trees behind it, are they pushed over, or the roots showing? Or
when we went back there in 2012, and all those trees with the notches were pulled up and gone.
What?
Pulled up by the roots.
Interesting.
And that's definitely done by knife. I mean, I can see the cut marks but or is it dug out?
It's hard to tell.
Not natural.
The one above it, you could see the knife mark by it. So maybe they started and then picked it out.
Well,
so
look at that above his head.
Yeah,
I don't think a knife did that.
No. Definitely not. And see how big around it are those softer? Those are softer wood, ain't they? They're not.
I'm not really sure. Some of them are birch, and some of them may be what you call an alder.
I kind of tell how it broke a little bit, that it didn't.
We don't know for certain, but this is a mark that's distinctive.
There's one I can show you one that they broke by pressing straight down on it and split. It split.
Oh, cool.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
They pressed straight down on the trunk of the tree.
Yes.
It burst out two ways. It split.
Okay, because we found some that have been where it looked like something reached in a Y and folded them down like really. Do y'all have the locust trees in Mississippi with the thorns? Okay, so you know how tough those are, right?
Yeah,
they're mean. You don't want to mess with a locust thorn tree. We've got pictures 3 years in a row where something took different sizes, different heights, and reached in. No thorns broke off the tree, nothing. There's no scuffs on the tree bark. No machine did it. Something reached in and broke it down the same way every year. We think it was whatever it was marking, letting something else know that the tree stands were up on the other side of it. But that's interesting. Let's
see if I got anything on here.
So what went through your mind when you saw Harry and Larry for the first time?
Yeah.
Knowing he was that close.
I was wondering what the heck. I knew something was going on because, I'm a pretty alert person.
Yeah.
I don't normally just stare at waterfalls like that.
Right. Well.
But it made all kind of noise and broke the limb and everything, and I'm still staring at the waterfall.
Well, waterfalls put out a certain energy.
I'm sure they do. That's why I said there's a lot of strangeness.
Yes.
There, and it's not understood.
Yeah, and I keep wanting to say this, and I keep holding back, but we have had things happen that should have been terrifying, and some of it was, but there's a couple of them. People are like, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you get a recorder out? Whatever. You kind of get into a foggy feeling. Like you said, you're spot on with observing and hearing and all that. But there's been a couple of times where I'm not going to say something happened to me and my mind was foggy. I'm just saying it was kind of a surreal feeling, and you kind of forget to move. You kind of forget that you might have a recorder, with you. So
let's see here. I'm going to show you those still pictures of it. Now I already knew that those broken limbs were there because I had found them in August, but we got run off by fire. They had wildfires in there, so we had to leave. So when we came back, it was October.
Oh, so that's another thing. We probably heard this before. What time was it? October when they found Patty, or what time?
They say it was, but the sun, the shadows from the sun indicate that it was more closer to summer.
Okay.
They were very short shadows, and from my astrophotography and everything, I knew you can't get in that area, in that latitude. You cannot get a short shadow in October.
Sun was high, wasn't it?
The sun never gets that high in October.
That's a pretty good observation, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so 3 notches in the trees. Look, just from what I saw, I'm sure there's a lot of hikers around there. But if I was something that lived in those woods and didn't want people coming in, that's the trees I would pull up out of the ground.
You see right there how big those trees are. They snapped. How high up?
All in the line.
It was all around that old lime pile.
It looks pretty fresh as well.
Yeah, and this is August pictures. They're very, very fresh. You talking about how high up was it? You see, I'm taking a picture.
Right.
And some of them were bent into arches; they weren't broken.
So that's hooked under another,
kind of woven
right
together.
you see, people, we always speculate, until I see a Bigfoot do that. I don't know how they did it, but somebody was like, well, how could that be possible? A tall tree like that. I'm like, well, growing up, MK, did you ever do this growing up in the country when you were young? Climb up a little tree and ride it down?
I have.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
we didn't have anything to do. So that's what we did. We would go out and we would climb up the little tree. Well, I said, well, I don't know for real. I don't know, but what if they send a small one up and bend it over and they bring it
There,
down to them?
there you go. You see how they pop
That's,
down,
yes,
Oh,
pop
interesting. Yeah.
just sheer weight.
that's pressure from the top.
Yeah, straight down on the shaft of the tree.
Yes.
That's
Now, the only thing that, I would say, well, let's look, and I already see that it's not, but he's like, okay, well, let's rule out lightning. Well, that tree wasn't hit by lightning. I mean,
Mhm.
I've
Yeah,
seen
that's
that
one of the
1,000
lightning
times.
hit.
So that would explode a trunk, but it would be burnt or there'd be strips running up the bark. And but that looks like, well, there you go,
I,
MK.
I have a hard time between, connecting the broken limbs and the little chop stuff on the tree, the dots and
Right.
dashes,
Right.
which I know they almost have to be, together.
Well,
But I don't know if Bigfoot does that,
right.
or what if somebody did it? Well, how did a person could not have broken the limbs?
No,
Uh,
no.
uh, so there you go. And this has got a long history of Bigfoot
So
activity.
this right here, this picture, uh, I was joking with the person about the smaller Bigfoot climbing the tree and bending it
Mhm.
over, but what if one was too heavy? That's still hard to do, though. That takes a lot
Mhm.
of pressure. That's amazing. That's a bucket list trip for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
It's I'd say there was it's a what do you call it, a high percentage place, but you're going to find something. I've never gone down there and not found something.
Some kinda evident.
Yeah, but
That's
the tracks that I found down there with those Japanese guys blew my mind, and they did worse. They did worse. I was the guy who cleaned the leaf litter out of the tracks, and I got real sick.
really.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, really sick.
What do you
When I got home, I was running a high fever, and I stayed sick from the October until the next February, and that's
Wow.
taking antibiotics and all kinds of stuff.
wow.
Did the folks who were with you, those Japanese folks, did any of them get you sick that you were
No,
aware of?
no, but I found why I got sick.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is I had it on video because I was videotaping me cleaning the leaf litter out.
Mhm.
It was a big wad of mucus
Oh.
What?
in the
Oh,
bottom of
no.
the track, just like snot.
Right.
And I put my hand right in it,
Oh,
Mm.
and then all night long I rubbing my eyes. When
yeah.
the campfire smoke gets in your eyes, you rub it.
Right.
Yep.
Uh, and I came out sick, very sick. And that's a case where I felt I needed to level with the doctor. And it was awkward, but I had everything on my phone. I could show him. When he saw the mucus, that's all laughter stopped because he was seeing something that he knew what it would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. Uh, so whatever whatever I had, it was something that a Bigfoot could have, and a human being, modern man, could have. And
That
I
that
feel like that. I feel like that it was headed to that where that waterfall is. I call it the lair.
mhm.
It
Mhm.
had a deer carcass in it. There were a lot of big tracks there. I'm gonna see if I can find them. They may be in this same.
MK probably has Bigfoot DNA in his body now.
It's worth looking into.
It is. Yeah.
I don't know why anyone would not want to, but except me, I ain't going to do it because I ain't going to spend a bunch of money on it.
Yeah.
People will say that I'm obsessed.
Well, there's something.
There's worse obsessions to have.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, there is. This whole country was settled by obsessed people.
That's right.
You ain't wrong.
So I saw a video, just a recent one, and so our logo here, Squatch and Holler, was designed by a guy named Chris Reinhardt. And
yeah, I know Chris.
I saw where Chris is going to take this library of information and help make it available to the public.
we had discussed it. He sent me a hard drive to transfer them over to,
Mm-hmm.
and make it available.
Mm-hmm.
That would be super cool.
That's cool.
There's some
like I could sit and dig through that for hours on end.
That's some of Miss Patterson's beadwork.
Oh,
that's cool.
Actually really good.
Yeah, she's pretty good at it, and she loved doing it. She got bad arthritis now. You know, I doubt she's doing it. This is Roger Patterson's little Bigfoot clay thing he made.
Yeah.
It's still soft. It's never been fired. It's just soft clay.
Oh, wow.
She's kept it all these years.
So how did she feel about all the different types of attention that film brought to their family?
She says that she don't confirm or deny. She's just rather just be a caretaker of it, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that was before she started telling me some things, and when she did, that's when I had to recheck the film.
Well, there's a lot of information in it. It's not simple, but just the fact you showing that you can see the tracks after she steps into the material and leaves one behind, and you can see it. I mean,
there's several places there, you can pick up a track.
Yeah. And anybody that's been outside and done any hiking or whatever, and you can go up on a sandbar, we're not going to sync up like that. We're not going to sync up where you can see the track on video. It's just
right.
I was standing beside we found some in the LBL a couple years ago. There was over 30 tracks, different sizes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was standing beside a 14-incher, and I'm 250, and I was taking and putting all my weight on one foot on camera, trying to even get close to the depth of this thing was. And I was sinking up maybe 1/8 of an inch, just enough to leave an impression. And these were inch and a half, inch and 3/4. Some of them, 2. The bigger one was definitely 2 inches. But standing right there where a family had walked through, and being able to put my foot beside it, and that little experiment of, just for me, it was cool to see. Okay, now I'm 250 pounds, and I'm not making any impression hardly. So
take a look at this.
Here and see that it's full of leaves.
See that track there?
Full of leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Watch me pull the leaves out of here.
Oh, you ain't fixing to get Sasquatch snot, are you? You go up puke.
There it is.
Oh, wow.
Where let me. I missed.
Sorry, snot's one of the few things that grosses me out, but I'm okay.
See what I did? Don't ever do that.
Yeah.
I've reached in the tracks before. You think it was like a? What do you think it was?
Sucker was sick, or either it was just a carrier, one or the other.
Right.
And I'll go to another, show you how deep these tracks were.
That one was pretty deep on one end.
It was. Yeah, that's very deep.
Let's see. That's a
Wow.
10 millimeter. You see where it shoved all of stuff ahead of it? Kind of
Mhm.
come with the heel here
Right.
and then brought your foot down. You see, it broke that big old limb right there.
It's got the right angles and everything
Yeah,
coming up from the hill.
it was just a monstrous deep track. I mean, you
It's a
know when
heavy
you
one.
saw it. You know when you saw it, it was not a person. It could not have been.
And the big one I found was probably, I didn't measure it, but I had guesstimating, it's probably 4.5 inches across the back right there. Is that about the same size of that one?
Yeah, it's about like that.
And it had the angles that looks like a right foot, maybe,
Maybe.
possibly. It's hard to tell.
I had to watch the video. This is a still from the video, but
Mhm.
I had to watch the video again and try to. I'm probably let somebody analyze it. Yet probably a lot of things you can determine.
Right. And
I wasn't in no shape to analyze nothing when I got home.
You can imagine.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us because we need to be careful if we find
Yeah.
something like that.
I'm always more worried about insect or spiders or snakes or something like that. Never thought about biological hazards.
Yeah, take your rubber gloves.
And this is still Bluff Creek, right?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Bluff Creek, and it looked like it was headed toward that lair to me. Matter of fact, I started to go up there, and they stopped me. The Japanese guys, they didn't want me to leave them down there because they didn't know the place. They scared they wouldn't be able to come out on their own if something happened. Later that night, something visited our camp. I was asleep. They weren't. They stayed up all night ringing a bell. They were afraid of bears. They were afraid of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Something came to the bell, and a bear runs from those bells. So whatever it was came to the bell.
Came to it.
And they heard it, and they woke me up, and I listened for a while. Then I heard it break a limb, and I got the flashlight and just tore out running toward it. And I tried to get the light on it as a surprise, And when I started to disappear into the brush, they started hollering and screaming and telling me to come back. And so I just came back. I felt like it was the maybe this track maker.
Look how deep that is.
How wet or soft is the ground there?
It's got some leaf litter on it, but
Mhm.
the ground is hard. I'll show you. Watch. Let me go. I just saw it. The track stomp comparison. Here it is.
See now, there's the track. And
See?
I'm gonna try to make a track as big or deep.
There's no way.
Deep. No.
Yeah.
See?
No
Yeah.
comparison.
No.
It's in by October. It's those little grains. See, it's shale sand. It's not the quartz type stuff that rolls out from under your feet like on
Mhm.
the beach. This stuff binds up. It's
Right.
little platelets, and it by the time October comes and you hadn't had any rain in a while and the water's low, it's hard,
Mhm.
very hard. And that John Greene realized that himself. He said, "I offer $100,000 to anybody who can go to Bluff Creek and make a 1 inch deep track on that dry sand." And it wasn't the size that he was looking to be it was the weight. to be the touchstone for it being Bigfoot. That he realized that they were just very, very heavy, and to make deep, even a 1-inch track would have been a real heavy. To make 4 inches, whew, you don't know, you don't want to tackle that dude.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all in chat, when I answer on my laptop here, it's going to be short. I'm not being short and smart alecky. I can type out better on my phone, but she was asking about the mucus, where it come from, but it'd be hard to know exactly.
I don't know. It was in the track.
It's in the track. Whew.
And
That's
it was pretty fresh.
It looked it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty darn fresh. Here's repeating movements, not.
So did they contact you?
No, I called them.
Okay.
I said, "Did y'all get sick?" That lady who called, she says her name is Emily. Said no, that nobody got sick, but they didn't dig out anything. They let me do that.
Mm.
I was their guide.
Well, we were in the Bankhead National Forest, and we found some tracks, and it was leaf filled like this, darker, dead leaves, and there's quite a few tracks, some smaller ones, and we're no glove, and I'm cleaning it out. This brings back this memory. A couple of years ago, we cleaned it out, and I think I said an ugly word on film because the toes appeared, and then we get back up to the man cave with Greg, and then we find out they have scorpions down there. Here I am digging around. Didn't even know. We don't have them.
That could be bad too.
Yeah,
scorpions are no joke either.
See where the main snot wad is? And this right here was laying across it.
Oh.
You see, it's still wet with it. It's fresh.
Oh.
Most foolish thing I ever did.
Well, you didn't. I mean, who would have thought?
That little devilish part of you that's skeptical of all things, say, go ahead. It won't hurt nobody.
Right.
Bigfoot don't exist.
Well, and some of us have to learn the hard way.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. I can tell you that.
You said that lasted months, right?
Yeah, it did. I thought it was gonna kill me, and it was before COVID or anything, so we didn't know anything about.
Right.
It wasn't all on our mind,
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's,
I hope I've entertained you tonight with something.
You have.
You definitely have. Well, and I mean, showing stuff that I haven't seen or haven't come across yet in some of your stuff in your research.
This is right here. You'll see there's 2 horse prints that came out, walked out into the field of view, and walked back before they took the picture. I've got other pictures that has this part right over here, and you can see the rest of them. That's why I was telling you they were all down there about the same time.
Right. David Rosti asked, is there a story that gives you chills, or during this research, have you ever come across a Bigfoot encounter that made you step back and reconsider what we think we know about them?
Almost every time I go.
Well, I'm sure people come to you a lot or share stories with you, I would think.
Mm.
Oh yeah. No, I've heard some pretty creepy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's I like to take photos because it's a story is a story, but if you got good photos or a good video, then it's more than a story.
Yeah, and
it itself, is a level of proof there. Right,
and that's at the very least. I've made a lot of mistakes. I'm not really a researcher. We investigate places sometimes.
Don't say that. I said it for years. I've denied being a researcher for years. But if you go to Bluff Creek 20 times, you must be one.
Well, yeah, I would put you in that category. But I've messed up more evidence than I've gathered, and so with me, I got made fun of because I didn't cast any tracks, but I was in a bad spot by myself, basically. And I told them if I'd had 100 pounds of casting material, there still wouldn't be a cast because I was scared. It was just too many of them. But anyway, it's been a little over 2 hours. I don't want to keep you too long. I could talk to you for forever, but
I
Yeah, we
appreciate
can.
y'all having me on.
Yeah,
It's not, you in these formats like this, you can kind of unload a little bit.
yeah,
It's a it's a it, to different people it means different things, and some people it's all hooey, you know.
yeah, yeah,
But it's hard to deny, good film evidence.
mm,
And that's
it
why I
is.
say that even the doctors took it tongue in cheek until they saw the snot.
the
And
evidence speaks for
they
itself.
saw my hand go into it. I mean, they know what happens.
Yeah. And, you know, you
That-
doing the work you've done, what it does, it gives the rest of us ammo. Like if somebody comes along and said, "Oh, what do you got a Bigfoot show or you saw a Bigfoot, whatever?" And yeah, well, watch the Patterson-Gimlin film. Well, they said that was fake. Well, who's they? Who said that?
Yeah.
You haven't watched MK Davis go over it. I promise you that. So then you start sending them links. I have, if they already gonna not believe it, anything you show them is not gonna make them admit it. But I have changed a few minds with your videos, so I appreciate that. At least it gives me something. Say, look, you go put in a few hours and watch that, and then come back and we'll talk. So
Just same for
More,
me.
more than anything, you want to come back home in one piece, and
yeah,
without being sick.
yeah,
So maybe at least that what I've discussed here tonight, what we discussed, kind of impress upon people, the need to, and especially after the COVID outbreak, where that kind of thing became critical early
right.
on in that outbreak.
Mhm.
There wasn't enough of it to go around. Uh, to get some rubber gloves and even a mask if you have to wear one of them. If you see that it's something that might spread to you.
Right. And I don't know enough. I don't know enough about some of these mushrooms and stuff and plants that. Do y'all have the little puffball mushrooms down there that
Yeah,
you can?
yeah.
Yeah. My uncle always told me to stay away from them. Now I don't know whether they were poisonous or just.
I don't ever either. I know for us it's the morels, because you have some that are edible and the other ones that
I w-
aren't, and they look too much alike. I'm like, yeah, I'm just not even going to bother.
no.
I'd rather not.
I know a few mushrooms, but I don't know them well enough. I wouldn't trust, gobbling one down. But
Are you in middle north or southern Mississippi?
I'm in central.
Okay.
Kind of dead center of the state, really.
Yeah, I looked up one day and you were on I think was it Josh Gates X or something or Honey Island?
Yeah, I was down there. I've been doing the Honey Island thing for many years too.
Is that kind of close to you? Because I noticed on Facebook you have a lot of videos and
It's about 4 hours away.
oh, that's pretty good. Little.
It's
Real-
they're still having stuff going on down there.
Yeah.
Real quick, I just had a brain thought. You said you're there in Mississippi. The really famous video of a skunk ape that's actually there in Mississippi of it ripping the stuff out of the tree trunk or everything. Was that your analysis of it, where it's been stabilized, or was that somebody
Yeah,
else?
that's mine.
Okay, that's awesome. That's another one of my favorites because once it's stabilized there and you can see again the movement of the creature and hear the power of it as it's ripping that stuff out of that trunk there's no denying that that's definitely something there.
Well, I have lived around trees like that
Uh-huh.
most of my life. Let me get out of this one right here. I'll show
Yeah, it's
you.
one of the videos that plays on repeat at the David Piquera's museum, along with the Patty film, of course. And yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Let's see here. Let me go to Sky Lake. Hold on. I'll show you some sure enough trees. And there's lots of stuff goes down on down to Sky Lake. There it is. This is a recent one here. I found it in an old. No items match my search.
Uh-oh.
I don't want it. Did it go away? Or what happened to it? Okay.
Chris done
There may
took
be
them.
so much in there, hadn't pulled it up yet.
Sometimes my hard drive will go to sleep. It's on its own. It'll just kick to neutral.
Yeah.
You have to wait on it.
Yeah, thanks everybody in chat for stopping in.
Yeah.
We
I'll be
appreciate you.
doggone.
Uh-oh.
I
Done
don't
come in there and got it, MK.
I
It
can't
done fell asleep.
get there from here.
I can't get that. I know where that's at.
I don't mean I can't come in the back door.
That's right.
Let's see here.
We traveled. I had a bucket list item. I got taken a couple years ago, maybe 3 now. We started in Natchez, Mississippi, and went to Trace all the way up, and it ends over here. It ends at Loveless Cafe, but we usually get off around Lawrenceburg, and it was during COVID, and all the bathrooms were locked. It was horrible, but I love the Trace.
Watch this. This is at Sky Lake. It's a similar tree to what the. I'm gonna show you how hard it is to rip these planks.
Oh wow!
Tear it off with my superior strength.
No, that's
Come over
tough.
here and feel how small this is.
He was ripping planks off.
And maybe you can appreciate a little more about that Mississippi skunk ape shot up in Tunica County and how he was ripping these planks off just like they were nothing and throwing them out in the water. This is hardly connected, but I couldn't tear it off. And I was putting all my 238 pounds against it.
Yeah, people don't realize.
Just reaching with one arm.
I don't think I've seen
the water like that.
I haven't seen that video.
Not likely a hoax.
Oh, I'll have to find it for you, Roger.
Okay.
Or Mr. Davis can find it or send it to you. It's really, really good.
This is a creature in a tree, and I don't know about this. Y'all can be your own judge. It's a little video that I was taking a picture of this real tall cypress tree, and I didn't notice there was something right here in this tree. But when I zoom in on it, it's standing on a limb right there. When its arm comes around here, it's got like a black looking face. Or something. It's not that distinct from that distance, but it's something. And I had been finding these structures out there. They have these world-class trees out there.
That's a perfect tree to climb too.
Yeah, definitely a good climbing tree.
Yeah. we're all country.
Yeah, right.
That's a good climbing tree right there, boy.
Now let me show you some of the examples of some of these.
I know I said it climbing, dude.
Yeah, look at these. Right? Look at the size of these trees.
Oh,
wow, this is cool. old growth stuff. That's my grandson. See the size of that tree?
It's massive.
That is.
So we found these structures out there.
Hillary said she saw something below the tree. It was dark too.
Over here. No, I gotta find it again. Hold on. Another small. This particular program for opening up videos, it kind of commandeered my video there. I just got all the little flying saucer there. Compute Clever Ultra File Opener. It don't give me no more options for anything. Yeah, I'll try this one. Okay, that's too bright. This is all crap. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, we're sitting on the porch talking.
Yeah.
Too straight.
You know,
try that. Oh, watch this one.
And is this middle Mississippi or?
Yeah, this is near Belzoni, Mississippi, in the Great Mississippi Delta.
Are you near any water right here?
Yes, Sky Lake is right there. It's not far
Okay.
at all. It's not Beaver. I looked at that. It was built on dry land.
Yeah, that
It's
was my
got
next question.
It's got these flat boards, like you rip off the cypress trees, and they turn them edgewise and create a cavity and cover it with sticks. And you can see where something's been getting up in there.
Oh wow.
That's pretty large too. Look at the opening. That's designed. The arch.
Yeah, that's why I say they made a cavity up in there.
Mm-hmm.
You can see where something's been laying on it and broke the sticks.
You get up in there and find something more mucus.
See all them little sticks.
Yeah.
Yep. Intertwined. Yeah, to create a
Just some measure. It's not rain proof, but
it looks like a windbreak, right? That's what I was about to. You know which direction the meat of it is? Like what side of it you're standing on? Maybe. Eastern side.
I think I'm on the north side right there.
Okay. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found 2 or 3 different ones. One of them had a bench. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, let me go back.
Red Dirt said they've been finding like huts that looks like that. Where exactly are y'all located? Are y'all in Alabama?
According to the logo there, it looks like Oklahoma.
Oklahoma? Okay.
Yeah, they got Oklahoma on their logo there.
I can't see
I'm
that.
just assuming so.
It's going to be on a different hard drive, so it may get that first one. Sky Lake over there, Sky Lake.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Audio. We've had some really weird audio recordings there.
That
deep bass.
To me, the audio is I love catching audio because you can actually do measurements too on that. And it's like a footprint. It's there. It exists. When something steps there, that's what I told this one researcher was saying. Well, I've seen 4.
See the bench?
Yeah.
That's right by that it's another nest. It ain't the same nest. But it was carefully placed on top of those cypress knees.
Perfect height.
Yeah, and that wood was ripped off one of those semi-hollow cypress. Somebody had a lot of strength to rip it off.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I don't understand. Well, I didn't understand.
We found that track right there. I don't know what that track is. It look familiar to you?
A little narrow looking one.
Yeah. Well, it really wasn't that narrow. It was proportion wise. The heel compared to the front was narrow, but overall it was several inches wide at the heel.
Okay.
I did a little
rock it back and
rock
forth.
trying to show depth.
This
Oh
angle,
wow, the thing is really deep when you.
angle.
Yeah. Okay, I see it better now. Wow.
And make up
Thing really stepped in the mud.
like this.
That ain't the way a normal foot is made. That
No.
kind of configuration.
Well, also you go back and look at that. I want to point out something to everybody. This is just me,
okay.
y'all. When you look at the way the mud, when this thing stepped footed, because how the mud mashes up and around and out. So if you're going heel to toe, it would push forward, kind of, sort of. But this looks like it steps straight down.
It does, don't it? Like a rubber stamp.
It does. And I've seen that before. That's why I've seen it with the small ones. We
It
found
reminds me of a whole lot of this. Let's see if I can get it.
that narrow.
Narrow.
Well, the one
I've seen some tracks in Louisiana like this.
The one I was showing there was from the Falk Monster in Arkansas.
The small tracks we found just appeared. There were bigger tracks, and my son and I came to the conclusion that we think it was a younger one that the mom had and set it straight down. And when it set straight down, the 2 feet went into the riverbank mud and bankhead, and it did the same thing. It mashed straight up like that and folded out, and it's like it's set straight down instead of a fluid step. If that makes sense.
Yeah, there's that other nest right behind me.
That's a pretty cool spot right there.
You see?
Yeah.
It's all hollow up under there. And whatever it was, they carefully placed themselves a little place. I guess it's to sit on. I don't know. But
and I'm guessing the limbs were broken. The piled limbs were broken and not cut, right?
I didn't find any that were cut.
Okay.
And I some that were broken. You had they looked like they were cut, and then you turn them over, and they'd be 2-stage.
Yeah.
Where it was broken. I don't know what fool would be back in that swamp trying to make that thing.
Yeah.
I'd be scared of them as much as I would of Bigfoot.
I know. How much work that takes to do that? I don't have enough patience.
No. I guess I should have been getting out of there.
Well, then you wouldn't have pictures to show us.
Right.
Well, I guess so.
That's right. And there's a lot of times where when I'm in the woods, I feel I spent a lot of time out in the woods growing up. I feel comfortable. I get scared when I get back home. Like, why did I go that far out, or why did we stay that late, or that is huge.
You got cypress knees that go well over your head.
That's cool. You ever been to Reelfoot Lake in Tennessee up here in north?
I've heard of it, but I had never been there.
It's there's pretty good sized cypress up there. Actually, where I found the tracks at LBO, there's one small cypress tree.
I must have put
I didn't even know I had this in there. I don't even know how I got up on there. That I should have been thinking about what if this thing rolls out.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, hey, it's good and flat.
He took the time to measure it and look up under some of this what do you call it, the fir, the cypress needles.
Mm-hmm.
See what he could see and find. His name is Marcus Ellis. Pretty good researcher in his own right.
I think I've heard his name. There's a lot of people. I watch videos and hear people on shows, and I'm horrible with names. And
he's got some Facebook page called The Unexplained.
I think I may be on there. People like, how do you know? I'm on so many Facebook pages, and I lurk. I go in these shows, and and the night you and Ron were talking about the giant tracks, that was a really good show. I don't even remember which one it was, but y'all did a great job on that one.
That was the one we talked about. It was in Nevada.
Yeah. That whole show was good.
Yeah, I haven't got to see that one yet, but it's definitely on my to be watched list.
It's well,
that Nevada is giant. It's giant territory.
yeah, and
Their history and their legends and everything are just rife with giants.
and
Giant
we've
lore.
yes, we've talked about on the show about the Smithsonian hiding all the evidence and or disappearing, and all, the Vikings and all these people running up on giants throughout history, and it's been hid from us. I don't know why, but
I think we know why. We just can't say it too much.
I
get
in
They'll
trouble.
take the show down.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time.
These are
True.
all audio recordings. Skylake Audio. There was some just unreal stuff. It was spooky because they were so base, and then they went back and forth to each other.
Right.
And I tried to imitate it by getting I had a bottle of water with me.
Yeah.
I drank it empty and blew on the top, trying
yeah.
to get low.
Yeah.
And I got it to reply to me one time.
Oh, that's cool.
This is
there's no telling in the places you've been how many Bigfoot you've had watching y'all.
You got that right. That's what I'm saying. I had that one watching me up there. We looked at earlier, Harry Larry. And he was in total control.
Do you have a good audio that you could share with us, or is that something?
Let me just go back to those if I can find them again.
And I appreciate it. I don't want to keep you all night, but I'll talk.
Sky Lake is a good place for anybody to go if they're looking for strange and unusual. Well, I can't remember.
Yeah,
which
I've
one.
wrote it down on my list to look up.
Definitely.
They got a boardwalk there. You can walk out into the middle of the thing. You can't see it all, but some of the highlights anyway. Let me see if I can find it. There.
Are you allowed to be there after dark?
No.
Okay.
You get in there.
You won't get out.
The gate will shut, but it will open from the inside if it senses your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can get out, but if you wait till after 5, you can't get in there.
That's my biggest fear.
I don't
in
know which one of these is which.
Have you ever, Mr. Davis, you being from the South, have you ever heard the old Dumbo?
Dumbo?
Yeah, where it's the little drum, sometimes made of wood, a large stand, it has the leather and the string, and it makes a horrific sound. We used to have them around here. They outlawed them because it would the cattle and stuff would run through fences trying to get away from it. But it doesn't sound anything like any Bigfoot. But I thought about if I could get one of those made and try it as a call. I don't know what kind of stuff we would spook up, but probably wouldn't be good. But yeah, it's called either a Dumbo or a Dunbull. I know we had them here in Tennessee, and some people in Alabama knew what they were, but they're just not laying around everywhere because I think that they did outlaw them. They're
I'm gonna
scary.
try to see if I can find those really deep recordings.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. I appreciate it.
I got lost out there one time, and I came out a couple of miles down the road. I finally quit depending on just line of sight.
Yes, sir.
Got out my compass. I said, I'm trusting the compass. And I did, and I got out of there.
It's not hard to get turned around in a area you don't know. And Henry says a coffee can with a flat shoelace, longer the better. They aren't too loud. Moose call wet the shoelace. Yeah, we used to put like beeswax on a nylon string, and when you it would it'd make a horrible sound.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find it.
One of my coworkers, she had always wondered what would happen if you used one of those Aztec death whistles out in the woods. Oh, have you ever heard one of those things?
Yeah,
they can recreate.
Yeah, I think Bama has one, and after he said that on the show the other night, I went and looked one up and heard the sound it made it. Made it. I can't talk, y'all. The sound it made. I have trouble. I can hear y'all real good with the headphones on, but it messes with my voice. Seems like
it sounded fine to me. It sounded country like me.
Y'all knew what I was talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Flute sounds. Okay, got it.
Found them.
Now, deep sound amplified, deep sound, treble and bass alternating. Let's try that one. Hear it? Hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a lute.
That's odd.
It's like a trumpet.
Coming from that direction.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is directly aimed straight at those structures.
Okay.
Across the water. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I neither.
Those structures, would they have been in the water there that time of year, or would they have been on the other side of the water?
Yeah, they were. This was in the spring of the year. It had, the lake was full.
Hear that, big boy?
Well, I got too loud.
Holy mackerel.
Did you get it?
I hope I did.
That was it again right there, wasn't it?
That's awesome.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hear it?
I got that one too.
Should have got that.
Hear it again? Ooh.
What is that?
Ken in the comments said, "Yeah, it sounds like a shofar." It does.
Larger one.
A little bit.
Even the higher ones. It sounds like one's over here and one's back over there, but that could just be my ears. What do you think?
There may be even
that's,
lower tones that we can't hear.
That's an issue I have when something starts happening. I get chatty, and I have to learn to listen, and that's the hard.
That's me blowing on a bottle.
Okay.
Hear it? It answered.
Well, that's a pretty good job on the water bottle.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea on the fly.
Yeah. MK's gonna have us out in the woods with moonshine Crocs. That's not a bad idea. Greg, you just bought some. You gonna let me borrow one? Practice blowing on it.
See that fish?
Oh, wow.
Is that a
Buffalo.
carp? Buffalo? I saw the big lips on it. Pretty good size one too.
Yeah, some murky water.
He looks like he's trying to get oxygen.
Yeah.
Well, that was a heck. I haven't heard it like that since.
I haven't heard.
Yeah, that's definitely an
It-
interesting noise for sure.
It sounded like a trumpet almost.
yeah, like a shofar or a trumpet or something that
Yeah.
was. That's all. See, that's time. That's time to go.
Well, the only way we had out is down that boardwalk.
Yeah.
So if it was at the other end, we were just going to have to fight our way out.
Have you seen the person that was on the boardwalk in Florida and they were walking along and the mountain lion, the Florida panther was coming up and they kind of met each other,
I did see
just
that.
past each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a crazy video.
Yeah. Like, do you jump in the water with the Crocs? Or I mean, not the Crocs.
They really didn't want to hurt each other. They just wanted to pass by.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is what ended up happening. I think the mountain lion goes and scurries on past the person there.
You do like the animals at the watering hole. As long as their belly's poked out, they're full. You can be all right.
I come up on a bear at Northern California. It was not in the creek, but it was up on one of the ridges. We were hiking, and I was walking looking down at my feet, and I heard it breathing.
Oh.
And I looked up, and it was walking toward me, looking down at his feet. And we were about to bump. And I said, "Bear." And my friend, Ken Iddens, his nickname is Bear. I heard him holler back there, "What?" And our eyes locked, me and the bear. And I could tell that bear meant me no harm.
Right.
I could tell by looking at his eyes, sort of like looking at a bad dog.
Yeah.
A dog, you kind of look at them and they can tell with the expression.
Right.
But it was a communication of sorts.
Yeah.
And he took a jump off down the side of the mountain and really went over a cliff, but I don't know how he could have kept from just free falling. It was that steep. But
you're right. You can tell when an animal is on alert.
Yeah, if that had been a female with cubs, I'd probably been a different story.
You wouldn't be here. We'd been reading about
it. Yes, you wouldn't be here talking to us. That's
cut my career short. But
Well,
if he wanted me, he was going to first have to get through a piece of PVC plastic that I had for a hiking stick.
Yeah.
Then he was going to have to dig his way through my backpack because I was going to lay down on my belly and give him nothing but the backpack.
My daddy always told me to carry a snake stick. So Gary Spikes, he handed out some at the LBL, and I can't go hiking right now, but I have it just to get a little distance between me and the little critters if I can.
Mm-hmm.
So. Oh, y'all.
Well,
I have enjoyed
we'll
it.
have to do it again sometime.
Yes, sir.
We'll do part 2 if you want to do part 2.
So yeah, I just had to get up and plug my laptop in. I was like, I've been here almost 3 hours. It was.
Yeah, well, this stuff out here is it's not just entertainment. It's some of it is one experience. You may never have another one,
right?
Like it.
Yeah.
So it gets interesting.
And people always say, well, they tell me, oh, you've had several experiences and that's just too many for one person to have. I'm like, but I'm not sitting at the house. I mean, we're at the LBL or we're at Bankhead National Forest or we're outside at 2 a.m. somewhere.
Yeah, we're actually out there in the woods with them.
And the thing is, I won't get into it. I didn't ask for this. It was thrown up on me, and I love it though. I mean, I love talking to everybody. I love sharing the stories, learning. I've learned a lot tonight, and I thank you for coming on. And I'll definitely see you at McMinnville. I'll come over and say hey to you. And
well, yeah. Well, don't be shy. Come over and we'll do 2 or 3 more hours.
All right, I'll hang out with you. Yeah, we'll. I
had a gentleman hung out with me last time. Hey, hold on, I'll remember his name.
Was he beside you there? I think I saw
he
him.
came and sat at the table with me.
Yeah, I saw him. Younger guy.
Yeah, young guy. He's a nice guy.
Yep. Yeah, I came. I don't like to fanboy much, but I told my wife, I said, I can't leave here without going and introducing myself to MK. And you had the big patty behind you, I think,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mural thing. But yeah, but once again, thank you. We will do this again. I know you got tons of other stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I'll say thank you from Greg and all the people that I've talked to that, like I said, what your work meant to us was maybe different than what it meant to other people. And we appreciate it. I mean, it gave us,
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
it gave,
thank you very much, Mr. Davis.
yeah.
You, like I said, the analysis that you've done on all this, like I said, the amount of work that you put into all this definitely doesn't go unnoticed.
Well,
Right.
I hope it inspires people. You know that
It
this,
does, definitely has. It definitely makes me want to get my camera back out of its
it's not,
retirement spot over there.
it's not an impossible thing. It's definitely a doable thing. It's a level playing field right now, and almost anyone can have an impact
Hmm.
if they are diligent and with a degree of luck too. You know,
Yes.
but you make your own luck by getting out
Hmm.
there.
Right.
And if you're able to pinpoint a good hot spot, then that's making your own luck. You go out there and something happens, don't be too surprised.
Right, exactly. And look, that's what we don't talk about. We don't talk about the trips where nothing happened, but we have fun. We don't talk about the
Hmm.
trips where uh it was a supposed hot spot and maybe we were there the wrong time of the year or whatever. You got to look at all that.
Honey
And
Island, you got two times a year that it goes to a particular area.
Hmm.
And I believe it's because of hunting pressure.
mhm,
But if you go down there during those times, your chances go way up
mhm.
of finding good evidence.
So you're saying it's more of a refuge for it to get away from the hunters where
Yeah,
okay. That
they, they,
and
know,
that
they know exactly where to go, and when.
and I hear that. In the north end of the county close to the Duck River here, my wife's family has some land and um February, March, and April, half of February, all of March, some of April, before it gets too hot, is when we have stuff happen, find tracks or whatever. But we haven't seen one there yet. But we've had things jump out in the field with us and scream at us, and things thrown. You know, you name it. But it's that maybe what we trying to figure out is like where are they coming from? Because I've talked to several people that have said that they move in certain times of the year and move out. So it's good
Yeah,
information
that
to have.
that Hetchy River up there has got a good reputation for the strange and unusual. You ever heard of the Hatchie?
Where's it at?
It's more or less on the kind of it comes out of Mississippi into Tennessee.
Okay, on the west side of over there.
Yeah, on the west side. Yeah,
No, but I will look that
there's
up.
been some stuff happen around that thing. One
Hmm.
case, a guy got the back end of his car picked up.
Oh snap!
Oh no,
Yeah, so I don't think a regular person did that.
no, no. And the thing is, from being out in the woods, and Amanda knows from being around out in the woods and being around
Mhm.
animals. When something's big, you know it. I mean, it tells on itself by the footfalls or by the breathing or,
Mhm.
whatever. So if you spend any time out in the woods around animals,
Something
you know,
with a vertebra like this.
wait a
Yeah.
minute, yeah,
It came
what it,
from Nevada.
Oh.
I don't know. We found it where they had found this massive skull, and
mm,
they found it. The first one college found it in California, and they considered that skull too hot to handle, and they passed it off to the College of Utah. In Utah, they did a complete study on it, and and I found it on the internet. It said strange, unusual skull found near Lovelock, Nevada, and that really got my attention. And I
Mhm.
found where this company called Scribid had gone and found the entire report, and they would publish it to you for a fee. And I found a way to get the report off without the fee. You know, I was doing screenshots, and I went and I found the place. They described the place, and I found it, and it was still sitting out there with piles of dirt and stuff where they had been, excavating it, and they found that skull. And I found this just laying there, and it's very old. You can see that. Well, it's
Bleach.
overexposed, but
Yeah.
you can see that it's old.
So it was out in the open with the sun to bleach it.
They had uncovered it. They used a backhoe, and one of their real tender loving care type excavations. Where they just scoop up the dirt.
Yeah.
They didn't find the skull until the next year after it rained and washed the dirt out of them over it. One of those students found it, and it was more pain in the butt for him, because it wasn't normal. It had a sagittal thing up there and a jutting jaw, and this horrible looking thing. And,
where did it end up at?
I guess it's still in Utah somewhere at one University of Utah.
We drove all over the middle and northeastern. We ended up at Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh my God!
Oh no!
We drove up to the front gate and just to say I've been there, and we left and went on up into the southwest corner of Wyoming, and people, when we talk about research areas and whatever, and you have people that don't know and they come to you, MK or Amanda, and they're like, well, where do they hide? I'm like, are you kidding me? There's more land
everywhere.
in this country. Yes. There's more land
right in front of your face.
That's right.
Don and I were driving along. We weren't in Death Valley. We were between Pahrump and Death Valley, out there in the Shoshone territory. And I looked up and I saw a hole in the side of the mountain. Don's in his car, and I called him. I said, Don, we got to stop. I will go up there and look at what's in this hole. And Don done got tired. He didn't want to, but he came around. And you got to kind of know the previous things that happened. But we went up. I went up there. Don didn't want to go. He waited. And it's way up there. It's just looks like a little pinhole. I got up there, and it was either a mine or something. It had a round ring of rocks out in front of it, made into a symbol. And they were so old that they had formed desert varnish on them. I knew it took a long time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up there, and I came back out, and I looked down there, and somebody had pulled up there to Don. And to him and Don were talking. And Don later said that this man, he was from Central America. And he said that his life was full of trouble, and he wanted Don to pray for him. And Don says, well, I'm not religious. He says, but I need your prayers. And so Don said a prayer for him. And then he says, okay, well, now my troubles are your troubles.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And he gave Don a thing full of ice and to put in the cooler. He says, I'm on my way, but our paths will cross again.
Oh, wow.
And he says, what y'all doing up there is important.
Wow.
So Don decides to go up there then. And I go back up there with him, and he's laying down there. It's 115 degrees, and he's exhausted, and he's laying with his back. And I took a picture of him, and the picture came out with all kind of little multicolored orbs.
Wow.
Looked like they're escaping from the hole, and he's looking at them like this. He swore to me he could see them. And there were 3 tracks up there, and one track was 3-toed. And there was no vegetation. It was just small rocks that were ground up on top of some clay. And this is he casted it later before we left. But that was the three-toe track.
Three-toe track.
Yeah.
That's an interesting cast.
This is way up there on the mountains above a playa, not too far from Death Valley. We found two tracks, as a matter of fact. Another one much larger. It looks like I can't even pick it up, or looked like an elephant track. And so we ended up going on our way, went through the Shoshone area, went into Death Valley, 121 degrees. And Don, something happened to Don. I don't know what happened to him, but his eyes, the pupils in his eyes turned vertical. They were like a cat's eyes.
Oh,
and
no.
I filmed them and took pictures, and they stayed like that a couple of days. I went and got him. He overheated, passed out. Since some woman from France walked up to him and said something to him in French, and his eyes popped open, and he jumps up. He rallies, and he wants to drive himself to Beatty to get a motel room. And he was weaving all over the road. And I said, Don, what's the matter? Why are you weaving? He says, I'm dodging jackrabbits. And I ain't seen no jackrabbits.
And he's driving. You're like, uh-oh.
That was one of the weirdest trips. And I could go on and on about Death Valley, but we ended up finding a lot of Bigfoot evidence there. Mostly in the winter, though. We went back in the winter. It was mostly in the winter. And we got one on video, we think, or a picture. We
Does
saw.
that-
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Well, we got a question. Is that track you just showed us? Does it look like it's two digits grew together, maybe from inbreeding, or is it like straight three toes?
You know, I just don't really know for sure. I really didn't know what to expect when we went up there. That's what I was talking about. The average person would not have gone up there. You know, I just barely saw it. It was so far away up on the mountain. It was just a pinhole.
Did you feel drawn to it?
I did. I felt like it was absolutely necessary to go up there. And I could show you that. I flew my drone over it and got a picture of that ring of rocks pretty good. I know what the symbol means in ancient. It means a symbol for God.
Wow.
You know, it's like Ra, like the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It was the main spiritual being.
You want to come back and do a part 2 and talk about the Southwest?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
It's interesting stuff.
Yes, sir. I heard you and Ron talking about some stuff. That's why I knew when I say that was an interesting show, y'all got into some things that we've talked about. And I tell you what, we'll stay in touch, and we'll do a part 2. We do an extra where we talk about other things other than Bigfoot, and we'd like to have you on one of our extra shows if that's possible.
Sure thing.
Okay.
Well, y'all talk about giants?
We'll talk about it
I
all.
want to dig your brain for that. That's
Yes, sir.
I got into giants there again, kind of backed into it, but once I got in it, it's so intriguing.
Yes, sir.
I found this gentleman up there in Idaho that he showed me some stuff he had done a lot of research. He found where the one of the giants that they got out of Lovelock Cave, they had cut his head off, and they kept the head, and it's his townspeople, and they boiled the body, and they drank it for an initiation ceremony.
Oh, wow.
From a civic
wow.
you know, and he found where they couldn't help themselves, and they published the picture of that head in the local paper in 1922. And he found that in there, and he shared that with me. Giant's head from out of Lovelock Cave. And I've got another picture of a giant skull in Humboldt Museum that has double rows of teeth. And they deny that it was ever there, but it's sitting there on their shelf. The shells are still down there.
Like it's literally sitting right there.
There it
It's
is.
just sitting right there on that shelf. It was twice as big as the Paiute skulls.
Let me. All right. So let's do. And we can have Ashley on with us with the extra.
Oh yeah,
And
she
I'm
would
sure
love
she has
to
some
pick your
great
brain
questions.
on
Great
the
questions.
giants subject.
But
Well,
anyway,
Because I got tons of questions on that, but I'll save it for that episode.
well, the Bible said there were giants in the earth in those days.
Oh, yeah.
And after.
The earth is a big place.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Y'all, I've had so much fun. I know Amanda has to probably get up and go to work in the morning. Me and him.
Amanda.
No,
No, not at all. I
No.
could literally sit up all night picking your brain. But I know we probably all should get some shut eye, as they say.
What's interesting about that giant skull, before we leave,
yes,
is that it had a rocker jaw. The chin turned up.
Whoa!
And if you put the jaw down on a flat surface, it would rock like a rocking chair.
Oh, interesting.
The only people who had that trait were Polynesians.
Oh, but
so what's a giant Polynesian doing in Nevada?
Well, did they not find giants in Polynesia at one time?
They did.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he got in a boat and came himself.
Yeah. Y'all.
That's interesting stuff.
Yes, sir. We are definitely we definitely want to do this again. Thank you so much, and we appreciate it. And
yes, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
We do the Southern goodbyes a lot of time where it takes hour or so, but
isn't that what we've been doing for the last 20 minutes?
Well,
sorry, I couldn't help but tease.
You better go ahead and cut me off, because if I stay on a little longer, I'll get back on something else again.
Me and you both. So, all right.
Oh, we're all in the same boat, because you said you pulled out that bow, and I'm like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right, here we go. Thank y'all, everybody, for coming in. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
It's been really fun, and we're looking forward to part 2, maybe a part 3, and meeting you in August. So Amanda, maybe she'll be there. So
see you there.
All right, everybody. Good night, and thank y'all so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, sunrise paints the ridge a hazy gold. Down in Squatch and Holler, stories told of nights the banjo's crying in the breeze, and something big lurking amongst the trees. My grandpa swore he saw it clear as day, 10 feet tall with eyes of burning gray. But folks around here, they just laugh and say he's been sipping moonshine, lost his way. Squatch and Holler, where shadows play, secrets whispered, then they fade away. In the mist that hangs above the creek, something calls out in the lonely peak. I'll walk these woods where legends sleep, feel the silence, secrets buried deep. The whippoorwills sing their mournful tune beneath the silver glow of the harvest moon. Maybe it's the whiskey talking low, but I swear I heard a rustling in the snow, a heavy footstep, then a guttural groan, echoing through the holler all alone. Squatch and Holler, where shadows play, peak. They say it's nothing but an old wives' tale, a mountain lion scream, a bobcat's wail. But I've seen the tracks myself, big and wide, where something walked they couldn't hide. Squatch and holler where shadows play, secrets whispered, then they fade away. In the mist that hangs above the creek, something calls out in the lonely peak. In Squatch and holler, secrets never die, just fade away beneath a watchful eye.